Six Fan channel. Make sure you're following us now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The link is in the description below. Back to the Top 6 show. I'm joined by Rory, Mo, Staffy, Patrick. Don is on his way. I think he feels we're going to do Chelsea first before we come late. That's why Don ain't here, but Don will be here. And NorthSIDE, another Gooner, will be on the show a little bit later with us. Please hit like buttons, subscribe, and turn on those bell notifications as well. Loads to talk about today. We're going to review Man United Tottenham, the penalty decision in that game, how good Spurs look as well. We'll be looking at the Caicedo disaster debut and Chelsea's 3-1 defeat. Of course, we'll look ahead at Arsenal versus Crystal Palace and some transfer news as well surrounding Amrabat, Kudus, Gravenberch, Balogun to Chelsea, personal terms reportedly agreed, and a little bit of Fati to Arsenal as well. But panel, how are you all this evening? You all well? You all good?
Very good. Very, very good.
Yeah, feeling good, man. Brilliant. Young Sar became a star. What can I say?
I'm happy. Football won, so I'm happy.
Football won. Football always wins. Typically speaking, Jose's gone. So it's, well, he's not gone. He's still with us. I mean, he's not in the Premier League anymore. Do you know what I mean? So it's all good. And it's probably a good place to start, really. I don't want to talk about it because I'm a Man United fan, but Spurs gave us a beating in that second half, Patty. You must have been proud of your club's performance, you know, especially after the first half where United were predominantly on top, to come back, score a couple of goals and sort of really set the Postecoglou era off with a high.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good, like you said, to be fair, it was an entertaining game of football. Like I said to you guys, this year, I don't really have any major expectations other than to see a better brand of football. And obviously, if we can finish with a, if we can finish, you know, in the top 4, top 6, that's a positive. But my main thing was to go into the season, no expectations, and just to see a better brand of football. And already we're seeing that. First half was quite even. I think United probably edged it. They had some really good chances. Bruno missed the sitter. And you know when you miss the sitter and you feel embarrassed, you see him quickly look around to the linesman, hoping that he was offside. He wasn't. He was clear as day on the back stick. All he had to do is head that down or cross the keeper the goal. It's a goal. Rashi looked good whenever he got the ball. He didn't really get the ball in good creating chances, but you lot had some good chances, played well. But second half, we just upped the intensity and yeah, we just came alive. You saw Basuma really grow into the game. He looked fantastic. Sarr as well looked really good. He was quite lucky in terms of where the ball bounced to get the goal. But to be fair, the finish was top notch. Put it the only place where the keeper couldn't get it. And he was just energy, dynamism, athletic, just running that midfield. Destiny Udogie, another good performance from him at left back. Mickey van der Ven, another solid performance. Romero, a lot of you guys were getting on to me last year about Romero. You could see that with a much better centre back beside him, he looks a lot better. And again, our goalkeeper, who weirdly enough was written off after one game, which was a decent debut, wasn't a stinker, wasn't a shocker. Didn't have a great game, didn't have a bad game, but on Saturday he had a really good game, and you could see him growing with confidence as well. But yeah, United will feel aggrieved. The possible penalty on Romero. Obviously, you know, I know we always say this, it wasn't intentional, he didn't mean to do it. Most people don't mean to create a foul or, you know, create a red card tackle or do something which gives a referee opportunity to give a yellow or a red or send it off. But by the letter of the law, his hand was out. His hand was past his body. You know, they say if it's within the cylinder, then then they can look past it. His hand was out there. So yeah, it wasn't given. We got away with one. But then I felt that the Son, penalty in the game before against Brentford, I thought that was soft. So it's almost like swings and roundabouts. So we got away with one there. Thankfully, you know, you didn't get it. Because if you would have scored then, and you was probably in the ascendancy, it might have been a different story. I know it's all if much.
What about the Pedro Porro thing? The consistency. McAllister got records for something way softer than that. If you got Bruno bleeding underneath his shin guard, what do you think happened?
Oh, the tackle. Yeah.
What do you think happened there? Full force. It's called excessive force in the tackle. You completely mistimed there.
Do you think it was an excessive? Are you asking the question, or do you think he did
I thought it was an excessive. It was a yellow card / orange red. The problem with me is that the referee was right there 5 yards, didn't even give a free kick.
I know, and VAR didn't look at either. This is what.
Do you know? Yeah, do you know what's crazy? In real time, Patty, I just thought it was one of those challenges where both players connect with the ball at the same time and it opens the knee up. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I kind of didn't see the replay. I don't know whether I was tweeting or writing a note down during the game because they only showed it once. It wasn't until I watched the replay in the evening. So I was like, hang on a minute, he's totally missed the ball and then studs into the shin.
Exactly.
So I don't think red card because it wasn't like there was no kind of stamping motion. But there was a few decisions yesterday. And do you know what it is for me? Man United caught life against Wolves, and it was a penalty. I admitted it. I think everybody barring KJ on the panel said we were lucky. But what then happened is there was 4 consistent days of coverage about that penalty. Man United having biased decisions. It was consistent. There was no talk of the 23 missed chances from Wolves that also cost them the game. It was that. And then what happens in the very next match? 2 penalties denied to Manchester United. That clear foul on Bruno Fernandes not given. And the handball is crazy to me. I've seen the handball defended today by ex-professional journalists who in the same segment have said the handball England's ladies conceded in the final against Spain was a stonewall penalty. And that was her hand down by her side, stepping across and into it. Now, stepping across and trying to block a shot with your arm in the air is not a handball. I think that all stems from that 4-day media onslaught against Manchester United, where you then start to put, maybe consciously, but most likely subconsciously, into the mind of referees to not give us decisions. And we were lucky against Wolves. But it's the lack of consistency in the reporting for me, because there is no articles today or long-standing debates about Man United being robbed. And if we'd have got that penalty before you scored, the game could have been different. And that's, for me, what I'm disappointed in. Not the result. I don't think we deserved to win in the balance of the game, and we were shocking in that second half. But the lack of consistency from the media, and we had it last year with the handball against Southampton in the box, the foul on McTominay against Crystal Palace, the foul against Rashford against Southampton at home in the same game, the 2 penalty shouts against Newcastle. They weren't given. And we had some that rightfully we didn't concede last year as well that should have been penalties. But the media's coverage of those 2 scenarios are so different. Maybe it's because it gets no clicks. It's only good when people are hating on Man United. But yeah, I'm disappointed with that. We're watching it back with no emotion, no nerves. United really got screwed decision-wise at the weekend, 100% for me.
Yeah,
you know what?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say sorry, Mo. I was at the stadium watching the game, so obviously you don't get to see replays. You don't even hear what's going on, and I feel that's one thing they need to do. They need to communicate better with the fans in the stadium what's happening, because you don't know what's happening when they look at VAR decisions or replays. So to be fair, I totally missed that. But looking back, when I come home, watch and analyze the game, Pedro Porro was lucky to get away with that. But Terry, going back to your point, I feel that because people probably feel United didn't deserve to get anything out of that game, that's why it's probably not as covered as much. Where with the Wolves one, they felt that Wolves got robbed. But to be fair, the narrative should have been Wolves didn't take their chances and got punished. That should have been a narrative. It's not Man United's fault that they didn't take their chances. Obviously, the penalty is a different one, but I don't know.
But equally in the game, though, like Bruno Fernandes was booked for questioning the referee. And the protocol is captains are allowed to still question the referee. And he was booked for doing that. And again, Bruno, we know, can whinge, but he's allowed to approach the referee and ask, why did you make that decision? They were told that. So to book him for following the procedures, things like that, I just think, I understand where you're coming from. I think you're right. If we had a better second half, then it would have been called out. But calling out poor refereeing decisions shouldn't be dependent on who played the best in the game, because surely we've got to, and I'm not having a pop at you. I'm just saying.
No, you're right.
We know why it is. If Man United benefit from a decision, it's front page and back page news. Sometimes our decisions in the past that have gone our way have been discussed in Parliament. That's how big we are. If they go against us, no one cares. So I suppose there's no money to be made from caring. So we don't get the rub of the green, unfortunately. But we didn't deserve to win the game, Man United, and you deserved it in the second half. But I will call out poor decisions because that's what we do, and I think that should happen. But for the next game for Man United, Staffy, what do you want to see different? Because 2 games running, especially in that second half, that midfield got run all over, and we were exposed. What would you want to see happen?
Well, it's a different type of game. Forest are coming to us. So Forest are not going to play like Spurs whatsoever. They're not as expensive. They're not as good on the ball. They love to counterattack a lot. They're just a typical Premier League team that, would hope for a smash and grab, So they're gonna have a lot of players behind the ball. They're not gonna come out. They're gonna leave the ball to us. They're gonna see what we could do with the ball, and they're gonna hope to counter us with the speed that they have. They have now Elanga, and I always butcher his name, the striker. I think is how do you say it? Awioni? How do you say his name? Is it
Awioni? I think it's
Awioni. Yeah,
Awani, I think it's
Awani, yeah.
Awani. I don't know. I hope he doesn't turn into prime R9 when he comes to Old Trafford, because everyone's been. I posted that on my Twitter the other day, and I was like, "I was gonna beat him at Old Trafford," and I posted the hat trick that he scored. But it's gonna be a different game, and I think we should set up different. A lot of people killed me from my prediction from the last game, but not a single person has mentioned that the lineup that I wanted wasn't even the lineup that we got for the game. But going into this game, I think we need to address the issues that we don't really keep the ball. We play hot potato in the opponent's half. We rush the ball so much. Garnacho, it's just the way he plays the game on that wing. I don't think he's going to suit that low block from Forest. I think I want to see Eriksen in this team. I think I want to see Sancho in this team. These are the most two important changes that I see in the next game, because I want Rashford back on the left. He's been killed in that number 9 position. He needs to go back to the position that he finds most comfortable. He doesn't like being on that graveyard shift where he just gets the ball every here and there and that's it. He wants the ball. He wants to run at defenders. Sancho has no problem being that player that he's pass first before shot first. I think that will benefit Rashford a lot. Anthony, there's a lot of questions about him. I don't think he will get benched for a game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he takes him out and he tries to play. He doesn't usually give Pellistri minutes, but Pellistri, in his little time that he comes on, he kind of offers something different. He's not as predictable as all our wingers. He likes to go to that byline. He creates a bit of danger. Even Patrick was talking about, I think Kegi was talking about it before the show started. He was like, that should have been a penalty. The whole idea that he even got to the byline like that is because he's different. He doesn't try to cut in like Garnacho does, Rashford does, Anthony does. So he might offer something different. But the main two things for me is like I want to see Eriksen and Sancho start this game.
I hear you on that. I want to ask a quick question to the panel about Rashford. I saw a tweet yesterday. I don't know who it was from. I just scrolled. It basically said, you shouldn't earn what Rashford earns or be considered a top player if you can't play multiple positions to like a top-class, world-class level. Is that... Because the reason I asked that is because there are some players in the world, Messi and Ronaldo would be two, who you look at and go, yeah, they played at least 2 positions to a world-class level. But how many players generally can play more than 1 position to a top-class level? Is that a fair statement about Rashford?
No, I think to be honest, I think it's a bit unfair to say that because it's football, innit? You get some players that are versatile, and you've got some players that are just specialists in what they do. And Rashford, for me, he's a specialist left winger. You put him on that left, he might not get involved in the game as much as you'd like him to, but when you're putting him in that final third, you're creating chances for him. He's going to bury them, most of the time. I know he fluffs chances. I know he can be a bit sloppy on the ball, but one thing about Rashford, he's very effective. And if it wasn't for him last season, listen, who knows where United would have finished, obviously Tottenham fell off a bit. We fell off. Liverpool fell off. If it wasn't for Rashford last season, United would have been peak for them. So I think that's really unfair to say, Rashford shouldn't be earning that much money because he's not a versatile player. That's not what you determine paying a player that much money for. Rashford on his day, can be performing at a world-class level. The reason why I've never said he's world-class is because he's a bit inconsistent. But on his day, he can turn up and get, goals for you, be all over the place, be a bit of a menace up there. I don't agree with that statement at all. Not everyone's versatile, but Rashford in his favorite position, he's very, very effective. He's a dangerous player there. So I don't agree with that statement.
I don't think Rashford should be getting blamed either for like what is a Ten Hag decision, and not just Ten Hag's decision to play him as a 9, but Ten Hag's decision to play this system. That it's not new to Rashford or United fans or football fans that he doesn't play well at number 9. He didn't last season, and he hasn't done any times he's played before that. So his new contract, the contract he's on now, wasn't to reflect the fact that he's a fantastic left winger and number 9. So I don't understand why he'd get the flack for that decision.
Well, yeah, I agree. I just want to put it out there. What it's really from is there's certain Man United fans who still haven't got over the fact that Martial's finished. So whenever Rashford's going through a bad period, those guys attack him. It's the same with Bruno. Some people don't like Bruno, but predominantly, if you ask the people that hate on Bruno, look at their profile, look at their tweets, they're still in love with their ex Paul Pogba, and they can't handle it. And
wait, is it still a Martial fan? I thought it was done.
Bro, listen, I can tell what kind of footballers a person likes by the people they hate, and not criticism, because I criticized Bruno at the weekend and Rashford. But there's a difference between criticizing them and then having the opportunity to run an agenda. Because I saw a tweet from a guy who I really respect, and this is why Sancho and Martial should be starting. We would perform better. Thinking, have you not watched the last 2 years of our club? Stating that it's a guarantee we're a better team with two guys that have been awful for 2 years doesn't even make sense. Other than you're desperate for your favorite players to play more than these guys. We should be criticizing Rashford's performance at the weekend, Bruno's miss and his performance at the weekend, absolutely. But nonsense like Martial is going to have a renaissance, Martial like 3.0, whatever it is, 3.59, I don't know. It's crazy to me personally. So I do get where you're coming from with that. We had a super chat that came in that says, Staffy, GMF have made you famous on Facebook. Yeah, your video of wanting Casemiro out on Facebook today has done 100,000 views, I think, on Facebook. So
I'm not even on Facebook, but thank you. Big up, guys.
some people are.
What did you say? What have I missed? What have you said?
He said that Casemiro should be sold. He wants Casemiro gone and out of Man United.
Wow. Wow.
I said if Saudi's watching this video, and I'll say it for a third time, just to third time's always the charm. So if you're watching the Football Terrace right now, you got the peas. I know you got the peas. Come in and buy Casemiro. That's all I'm saying, bro. People don't want to listen to it.
Why are you saying that though? Isn't it not to be funny? Isn't it Ten Hag that's killed Casemiro right now by just leaving?
No, you know what's funny, Patrick? People now are repeating what I told them in preseason. This is the thing. I was talking to Don earlier. I told him this is the issue. I'm ahead of the curve, and people don't like that. They call me arrogant because I say things. I'll tell you this. Listen, I'll tell you this.
Tell him.
I'll tell you this because Don was laughing when I told him that. Listen, bro, I try to stay ahead of the curve, okay? So when I sit here and I talk about something, I usually have backup to it. I don't just talk out of my ass like that. Excuse me for the language. I kind of back it with facts before I even say my opinion. I told them in preseason that later in the season, it wasn't even later, it's the first two games. I told them people are going to start having conversation about Casemiro. They're like, no, it's preseason, relax. I said, we'll have conversations about him because not necessarily his fault, but the role that he's being given right now is going to make him look bad. 2 games in, he's starting to look bad. People now are saying what I said about a month ago. Now I'm on a different conversation. I'm on a conversation that he got beat about how many times was it? I posted on my Twitter. Go check my Twitter, and I put the clips with it. He was getting beat 1v1. I posted at least 5 of them. He lost like he had 4 of his 9 duels that he only won a pitch. 4 of 9 only. Ground duels, by the way.
Bissouma was playing like it was. We've got a place called
They destroyed him, bro.
We've got a place called Power League in the UK. 5-a-side football, 7-a-side football. Yeah,
100%.
Bissouma was playing like it was Power League, bro. He was just skipping past.
He destroyed him, bro, and it wasn't just him. Okay. His awareness of where Madison was at times made his position look bad. So he was either losing his one-on-ones or his position was not good enough.
Do you know what? I think
I want to respond to this.
And by the way,
I want to say one thing about Staffy or Nostradamus, whatever we're going to call you today. I want to say this. I understand where you're coming from, but this is where I have issue with you, because when it comes to Sancho not performing, you blame the system and the manager's got to change things. Hang on. I've heard you on the show before. When it's Sancho underperforming because you love him, it's the system and the manager and play him in the right position. Casemiro is being hung out to dry by this system right now because we ain't used to it. But instead of saying the manager has got to make changes to ensure we get the best out of Casemiro, your reaction is sell him. So why would you? That's the only issue I've got with what you're saying, is that when it's a player you love, you blame the system and the manager and you should change to accommodate him. When it comes to Casemiro, you're like, fuck the system, fuck the manager, sell Casemiro. That's the only element I take issue with. You're not consistent with your logic based on how you emotionally, the love you feel for them, the other men.
But that's not true, because I'll tell you something. For the Wolves game, I didn't blame him. I said he was hung out to dry. I agreed with you. I went back and I watched that Spurs game, and I even showed Don. We were talking about it before. I was like, go look at what Mount, where he was positioned. He dropped in off the ball. He dropped in as a second pivot the whole game. So he was doing that double pivot role, which is why in the first half, especially, we were not exposed. So off the ball, he did get the support that he was supposed to get. But when people argue me, they're like, oh, well, he lost his duels because he got no support. You don't need support to defend someone one-on-one. He's slow. He's looking sluggish. He's looking like he lost a yard of pace. And that's age to me. So I was blaming him for things that were different at the beginning of the season. I defended him. I said it's not his fault. Yeah, but now I'm blaming for last game.
You could be right. You could be right. And if you are, then you know what I'm like on here. I'll say, well, you got that right. For me, I think the whole team looks a yard off pace. And a lot of and this is what I would say. I'm not focusing purely on individuals right now because I can see issues with a number of peoples. We just don't, whatever reason, I don't know why, we don't look fit. And that's a bigger concern to me than anything else because everyone else looks fresh. In terms of transfers, NorthSIDE's here with us now as well. I'm going to bring him into this. We're not quite ready yet. I'll bring him in just a second. In terms of Man United, there's some information that just come out here from Sky Sports that says Bayern Munich are no longer ruling out the departure of Ryan, Gravenberch this summer. 2 Premier League clubs are interested. We know that's Man United and Liverpool. United are also looking at Amrabat, but they haven't progressed. Are they the right profiles to improve this Man United team? What do you think, Mo? Are them two together? Could they help the midfield be stronger and stop us being run through like we are right now?
Yeah, 100%. You need a couple of people that will control the ball. Amrabat before Gravenberch. Watched some of Gravenberch. He's a good player, young, has potential, but I think Man United are making a terrible mistake if they don't go for Amrabat now in this window. It's a terrible mistake. I like the player. In the first 2 games, Man United for me looked the worst out of the top 7 clubs, including Newcastle. It's not about the result. I'm not assessing the results. I'm not assessing chances. If you ask me what is Man United now, I tell you I have no idea. It looks like the Thomas Tuchel of Chelsea. There was no style. Last year, at least, you had control of the game. You knew where the ball is going. Yes, you created chances, but there is no style. Someone like Amrabat will help you with that. For Casemiro, you need someone next to him because if anybody plays football, they know that the defensive midfielder should not be marking one-on-one the whole game, and Casemiro was. And any defensive player with a player running at him 3-4 times, he will get dribbled. Defensive midfielders cover spaces. They don't cover man-to-man. That's why Casemiro looked terrible, and that's on the manager and on the lineup he played. You definitely need both, if I'm looking at it now, because Mason Mount should not be in that midfield in any way or shape at all. If he plays, Bruno Fernandes should go somewhere else. They both cannot play next to with Casemiro. You need both, but there's only 11 days, like 9 days left in the transfer market. And why Amrabat is not at Man United yet? It's the question I keep asking.
You know United though, Mo, innit? You know United. They love their little, leaving things to last minute and then.
But Don, can I ask you something? It's 2 games now. They don't get Amrabat. There's a 3rd game coming.
I agree, bro. I agree with you.
Mo, by the way, I also have an apology for you. So you questioned it on the last Top 6 show. Why didn't we bring Amrabat in before Mason Mount? And I spoke about it on the show. Afterwards, I sat there and thought about it. I was driving to London. I had to go and see my auntie. And the more I thought about it, I was like, nah, Mo's right. This is a mistake from Ten Hag and the club. Amrabat should have been the first purchase of the summer. I know we need strikers as well, but from a midfield point of view, we should have brought him in first. In fact, Amrabat and Ryan Gravenberch collectively are actually cheaper than Mason Mount. And that there is a mistake that has to be called out, especially if what you've said, if we don't bring them both in and we've got a hole there still, it's a poor mistake and criticism needs to be had. So, yeah, for me, I completely agree. I think they're both excellent players, very different to what we've got. And they're definitely, and I think you throw them two into our midfield. And I don't think, I think the Casemiro conversation will disappear.
Yes, guys, I want to add something to this, right? Why we have like energy when it comes to Arteta about shoehorning Havertz into the system. Why we don't have the same for I like Ten Hag. Last season I kind of like I'm on the Ten Hag wagon because I saw the footprint. But now I'm seeing Ten Hag trying to play Mason Mount and trying to play Anthony and Mason Mount. Now there's 2 games, only small sample, but this is what I can analyze. He is trying to play both of them to justify the purchase. And I'm like, but it's not working. You have no style with these 2 on the pitch. So, okay, why are we not criticizing Ten Hag? Try to find another place for Mason Mount then. If you are convinced that the player can give you something, It's everybody sees the same thing.
Sorry to interject as well. Where I also criticised Ten Hag at the weekend is he moved Bruno out to the right and not Mount, who's actually okay on the right. Where with Bruno Fernandes,
he's been better than Bruno on the right.
Yeah, what Bruno Fernandes is generally good at doing, and listen, I know it was offside, but like that pass he put into Rashford earlier on in the game, Bruno has that in the locker. Bruno can find those passes, putting them out to the right. Honestly, like that's where I have to criticize the manager. And I know some United fans won't want to hear that, but you can criticize a manager without wanting him to be sacked and moved on. But viewers, let us know what you think. Go on, mate. Go on.
Just to add to what Mo's saying, Mo's 100% right. Like you should have definitely brought in Amrabat first, because if you remember when Mount was brought in, a lot of United fans, even Chelsea fans, were saying, "Listen, you lot need to bring in Mount as like a supplementary to other midfielders. You know, a little bit more quality. Mount's just like to improve the squad depth that you guys had in Scott McTominay, in Fred, etc., etc." But now you've got yourself in the pickle because everything that's coming out is you need to get rid first before you bring anyone in. That could be the reason why there's a big delay now in bringing in an Amrabat or bringing in a Gravenberch. Because this morning, didn't Samuel Luckhurst say that you know, if United wanted Amrabat, they would have him already? And you're struggling to get rid of these midfielders.
United is a big club, Don.
He did. What? Let me just say about
Samuel. But why are they taking so long?
Hang on, sorry, guys. Let me just interject. When it comes to Samuel Luckhurst, he does have a lot of inside information and he is fairly credible, but he's also a known United. He doesn't like Man United. So he often writes things. He was one of those guys last year that no way Casemiro is ever going to pick United over Brentford or Tottenham. Why would he? So he's written a lot of articles like that before about us and not being right. So he's one of those hard people to take. As a United fan, you kind of see it because you know it's your own stuff more, but I get where you're coming from. Viewers, let us know what you think and feel in the comments sections below. Speaking, obviously, Don, Chelsea as well, and we are going to get into the transfer stories later in the show, ladies and gentlemen, so stay with us. Also talking Arsenal on the show a little bit as well. But Chelsea, we'll get onto your game in a minute, but I want to get your opinion on a big story that's circulating today about Balogun, that you've held third round of talks with his representation to try and buy him from Arsenal, and according to a few outlets this afternoon, they're now stating that Chelsea are serious about bringing him in from Arsenal. You as a Chelsea fan, Don, would you be? Is that the answer to solve your fix your goal team?
Listen, I don't know what they're seeing in Balogun. I'm not sure what they're seeing in Brendan Johnson, but listen, I'm not for the move. I'm not for this move. You know, it's underwhelming for me. I'm not going to lie and say that I saw much of Balogun last season, but when I've spoken to a few people that did, they said he scored quite a few penalties, and just overall, when I've seen him playing pre-season for Arsenal, even that last game when he played the first game against Brentford, it's not someone that I'm looking at and thinking, yeah, I want him at Chelsea. I just kind of looked at him and said, you know what, he might be worth an opportunity at Arsenal. So yeah, man, I'm just a bit underwhelmed. I'm a bit confused by it. You know, I haven't seen anything today. Who's reported this, Terry? I've actually missed that.
I'll have to go and check. And a few out. Sky Talksport have put it out there, and a few other outlets as well have spoken about it.
I know that his team's been spoken to because Secret Scout spoke about it. But listen, hopefully we don't actually go ahead with it because I don't want Balogun. In all honesty, I do not want Balogun. But we'll see what happens.
So who's gonna score goals?
Someone else other than Balogun, bro. I don't want him.
I feel like Chelsea would
gonna score goals.
I feel like Chelsea wouldn't be a good move for Balogun either. In terms of personality, like if there was the one big thing that Arsenal fans, if they don't like Balogun or the way he rubs Arsenal fans up the wrong way, is he seems to want to be a big fish in a small pond rather than kind of just a good squad player at Arsenal. I think we saw that with his move to USMNT instead of sticking it out and trying to make it at England. And if he goes into that Chelsea squad, where he certainly wouldn't be a big fish, I feel like the exact problems that we've already had with him already would be worse, if anything. Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I really rate him. I rate him. Like, NorthSIDE, your point of view as a gooner, would you be worried if he joined Chelsea that he could, set them alight in terms of scoring goals, or are you happy to take the money and not worry about him anymore? You're on mute, by the way, bro. Sorry.
Did you ask me?
Yes, bro. Yeah.
So, yeah, for me, I'd be more worried in keeping Nketiah. I think Nketiah's had his time at the club. He ain't good enough. That field that cannot be consistent enough. Even when you go back to 2 years ago, yeah, that guy's an absolute bum. Oh, Nketiah can do a job 10 games to go. The guy wasn't good enough, innit? He scored a brace against Chelsea and made his name off of a little brace. But in terms of consistency, he ain't consistent enough. And for me, Balogun could be a Gnabry part 2. Unless we give him a try, we'll never know. Gnabry never got a chance at Arsenal, and look what he went to do. And we kept Iwobi. And what was Iwobi? That filo da puta was trash. The whole fan base wanted to justify that guy, yeah? And now, look now. Yeah? Look now. You know what I mean? Ever since Nketiah's done that, Nketiah in the room has only scored 1 goal, and these men are twerking for him. Now I'm not hearing none of it. At the end of the day, I don't understand why certain players, yeah, like ESR, he's got talent, yeah, but he's always injured. People want to give him a go. But when it's a player like Balogun, oh, now we'll get rid of him. Why? Why? Because the same clubs that are in for Balogun ain't looking at Nketiah. So what are those other clubs? What are those clubs seeing? Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, to write off a player that hasn't had a chance at Arsenal. And no offense to the other Arsenal fan, but he's saying, no, he doesn't want to be a squad player. Good. Because I'm sick and tired of these bums at this club, yeah, being happy, just being a squad player. El Nene, Rob Holding, robbing the living, not doing enough. I like ambitious players because I want my club to be ambitious. Not be on the bench, be a side man, be a coleslaw from Nando's and just be happy about doing nothing, twerking for top 4. Let's go and actually win something. So that's how I look at it. At the end of the day, I'm not going to write off the kid. I understand why the Chelsea fan may not want him because they need somebody that's going to guarantee 20 goals to 25 goals a season. He's not going to guarantee you that. But in what world do we justify, yeah, that bombing Havertz and that bombing Nketiah, but we're ready to get rid of Balogun? Based off of what? The guy had a good preseason. Why would we not keep him? But Eddie Nketiah, oh, it's okay. We got a little TikTok song for him, so keep him on. No, I'm not with this Bukadia. For me, get rid of him.
You're not providing a solution. The guy doesn't want to play second fiddle to anybody.
I don't care.
What do you mean you don't care? How are you going to keep the guy in your... Come on, just... Okay, be logical.
Do you want Balogun? Are you happy with Balogun? Because he's linked to Inter. He's linked to Inter.
I don't know about him. I haven't watched him in 1 game, so I don't know about him. Okay, but my point, NorthSIDE, you're saying, keep the guy... Yeah, he doesn't want to be there.
Are you happy to stay there? If you're the manager,
are you happy keeping the guy that doesn't want to be there?
Is he under contract?
But that's the thing. If you're the manager right now, how are you convincing him? He's coming to you and saying, listen, boss, I want to leave. I want to be a first man. I want to be a first choice striker. I want to go to a different team. You want him because you rate him. How are you convincing him to stay? Because as Mo said it, he said it very easily. He doesn't want to stay. So what are you doing?
I would get rid of Nketiah. I wouldn't mind getting rid of Balogun, yeah, and go and get me a proper striker.
Oh, so you just offered a different solution completely.
Okay, so you're here to complain about Nketiah. We're talking about Balogun. Okay, so let's just get it straight. Eddie Nketiah got offered a contract, shambolic by the club. You called it out 100 times on your channel and every other channel, right? Now Balogun is linked to Chelsea. You want to keep him at your club, but he doesn't want to stay at your club because he don't want to play second fiddle to anybody. What's the solution?
Then charge whatever club is coming for him, just charge him extortionate amount of money and get rid of him. That's it. Like, I'm not saying that I'm gonna. What I'm saying is, I think the player's got a high ceiling. He's not there yet, and I understand why Chelsea don't want him when they can go out for other targets, especially if they're gonna have to play, 60, 70 mil. Not saying that that's what he's valued, but there's not many top strikers, and he's one that's on the rise and's got hype. So let's cash in on the hype and go get me a proper striker that's actually going to be able to deliver. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Ivan Toney was chatting about you guys today on that podcast. I see him saying it. He's but maybe he's doing a Caicedo. I swear I've seen interviews of Caicedo over the last 3 years talking about 6 different teams.
But I feel like Toney there must be something in that though, because he was prompted by what's his name, Stephen Bartlett, to talk about Liverpool. He was like, "Oh, you supported Liverpool from your childhood, right?" And he just immediately started talking about how much he loves Arsenal and how much he loves the way Arsenal play. So there's got to be more in that than just he's wanted to talk up Arsenal.
Yeah. Oh, you're clutching. You are clutching. I want that. I want Toney. That's if you're talking to me about strikers, don't talk to me about Balogun. Don't talk to me about Brennan Johnson. Talk to me about Ivan Toney in January.
But he's not talking about
I'd rather we give. Listen, I don't care if he doesn't talk about us. If we come calling, you know what happens, innit? You know what happens when Chelsea come calling and you lot are interested.
You're not happy
with
you're not happy with Jackson that's gonna bang 20 goals. Then you want another striker.
No. Where did I say Jackson's gonna bang 20 goals? Who said that? Well, Jackson definitely needs a bit of a backup. Like, I'd rather we play Broja when he's back fit, have him as a little bit of an understudy to Jackson. go in for like a Toney if we can't get right now. If it's not feasible to go out and get Osimhen,
Toney,
that's not looking
so
feasible.
Toney is the backup to Jackson, or Jackson is the backup?
Toney will be the main. Toney will be the main. He's
about
clinical,
Balogun?
man. He's more rounded.
What about Balogun?
I don't want Balogun. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather go for a Toney. I'd rather if we can't get anyone right now, like I said, like Toney right now, I'd rather we just go with Broja up until January at least, and then you bring in a Toney and see him up for the rest of the season. You know, for me, if we've got Broja there, I don't see the need to bring in a Balogun. I'll be real with you, because I liked what I saw of Broja at Southampton. You know, he reminded me a lot of Diego Costa. You know, quite aggressive, a bit of a good finisher. I don't know if you guys remember the goal he scored against Wolves last season as well. I'd rather give him an opportunity to see what he can do. You know, I don't want Balogun. And if we do bring him in, he proves me wrong. Listen, I'll hold my hands up and say I didn't want this guy, but he's proved me wrong. But as it is right now, I would rather not. I'd rather go for Toney in January, in all honesty.
Do you know that I want to say something? Do you know I said something yesterday? Chelsea, the definition of incompetence, of spending close to 1 billion and turning into a 20 years old striker whose first team experience is 26 games in League One. That's the definition of incompetence of running a football club.
What
now you are, I don't know. I don't
available?
care. Listen, I don't care. You spend that much money, you should have a decent backup. Yesterday, you wanted a striker, and I see someone I've never heard of, 20 years old, and I go, look the guy up. He has 26 games as a first teamer playing in League One. If any other club does that, you would call them incompetent. Yesterday is incompetence.
I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't call it incompetent, because it's not our fault that Nkunku got injured in training and not in training, sorry, in the game in preseason, and now is out till January, because he could potentially have played as a second striker yesterday. We don't know what tactics would have gone with.
But that's the point.
But what you're saying right now is Broja's not fit either, bro. We can't bring him in. You're right in saying that, yes, bringing in that player, that young player, I didn't expect him to be on the bench. But right now, literally, bro, Broja's not fit. Broja would have definitely been on the bench if he was fit yesterday. The other guy that came on yesterday, he's the next option after Broja, is what I'm saying. But if you look at the striking market right now, it's peak. That's why we're looking at players like Balogun. But for me, not for me. Not for me at all, Mo.
I mean, you guys need goals, though, because obviously yesterday we saw the best and worst so far of this Chelsea team, controlling the game, moving the ball well, but in the end, not able to finish your dinner and being caught on that break. From a rivals watching Chelsea yesterday, I mean, we had a gal that came on the show and said, this is it for your season. You won't get any better, kind of writing them off, saying they don't have the patience to allow Poch to kind of settle. But a goal scorer is obviously needed. What do people make of Chelsea's performance yesterday? I mean, one of the comments here says, Don, you said Enzo would unlock low blocks. And obviously you didn't in the end. Like, rivals, what do we make of Chelsea's performance yesterday? And is this just teething problems, or are there still massive holes in this side? What are we saying?
Yeah, I mean, they've got so many players. Like I said, this, a lot of people after the first game against Liverpool said, Chelsea are nailed on for a top 4 finish. And I said, yeah, they've got a good team, a good squad, but it's going to take Poch ages to understand his first 11, his first 15. There's a lot of teething problems to write them off. A gal is a gal, in it. He's going to come here, he's going to trigger people, he's going to say wild stuff, like so reactionary, but it's going to take a while. And this is where other teams that are probably a bit more set, a bit more, even though like for us, we've got a new manager and a lot of new players, we kind of know our first 11. Chelsea have bought so many players, which can be a good thing, but I feel it can also be a bad thing, because the chemistry and cohesion, and someone doesn't have a good game, they get thrown out, rotated, and it's hard to get momentum with a set or solid 11.
Patrick, you make a good point.
Yeah.
Go on, I was going to say,
people getting onto Enzo. He had a good game yesterday, man. Like, people need to watch football, stop the agendas. Enzo had some good passes. He did basically unlock that low block. But if people don't finish their dinner, that's not his fault. Sterling tripping over the ball when he was through on goal. Sterling was good and direct, but again, that's not really the Sterling that we know of. Yeah, Nicholas Jackson is okay, but he's quite raw, and he's not had a lot of real first game experience. What Mo was saying about essentially Balogun is the same as Nicholas Jackson. I don't know, man. Chelsea are, on paper, they're a good team. They got a good squad, but I just feel there's too many players coming in at the same time. It's very hard for a manager to hit the ground running when there's so much going on.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but I don't think the issue here right now is there's too many players coming in. I think the main problem that we had yesterday is Poch went back to a back three that he used against Liverpool. I got why he did it against Liverpool, because at that point we didn't have Caicedo, we didn't have Alavia, you know, needs must to pack out that midfield. But to go again yesterday and play a back three when you know that West Ham are literally going to be playing how they were playing the whole game. You know, these men were playing like they had 10 men from the beginning. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So why do you think he did that?
Why do you think he did that?
Let me finish my point, bro. Yeah. The reason why he did that is because West Ham, in my opinion, obviously they've got two players, like I said yesterday. And when it comes to set pieces, I think he went for a little bit more height, a little bit more physicality at the back, and someone to deal with Antonio. That obviously didn't work for that second goal. Look what Antonio did to Disaster and Colwell. You know, but for me, you know, before the game, I said this is not the lineup I would have played all throughout preseason. We played a 4-2-3-1, and we looked really fluid in it. We looked really good in it. When we went to a back three against Wrexham in the second half, we didn't look good. We didn't look as fluid. You know, if you realize in that first half, when we were playing, we were taking a little too long on the ball. I kept saying it, like, come on, we need a little bit more intensity. And then, yeah, I would say like the last half an hour, the first half, we should have buried at least 2-3 chances. Do you get it? We should have buried at least 2-3 chances. People were saying that Enzo didn't unlock that defense. Did you see that ball that he played to Sterling when Sterling fluffed his lines and nearly fell over? You know,
exactly.
We just didn't take opportunities.
That's exactly what I just said. It's not Enzo's fault if people are going to fall over the ball. Enzo did his part. People have got to finish their dinner, and obviously agenda's going to run. Caicedo had a stinker. Let's be honest. He definitely
had a howler.
Didn't have a good. But
he had a howler. You can see that he's not fit. You know, you can see that he's not fit and not ready to start the game.
You play 3 in the back? Do you want to tell you my opinion why he played 3 in the back?
Go ahead.
As I said many times, Thiago Silva is not good at 4 in the back. Thiago Silva's age, at 39 years old, cannot play with someone like Chilwell who flies up front. Balogun is still unexperienced. I said that, Don, and I said, no, you don't know. 39 years old. Imagine Thiago Silva with no 2 centre-backs around him, with Antonio Bowen running at him. That's why he goes to 3 in the back, because Thiago Silva is very good. As Thomas Tuchel proved it. We play Thiago Silva and 3 in the back. He looks amazing because he reads the game. Well, when you play in this day and age with 4 in the back, 2 defenders, many times you'll be faced with one-on-ones. Many times. And Thiago Silva, we saw what Antonio did to him.
I agree with you, Mo. I do agree with you. I prefer Silva in a back 3, but Silva played in a back 4, like I said, all throughout preseason, bro. He played in a back 4 and he looked perfectly fine. Like I said, I've seen Silva play in a back 4 under Tuchel. I've seen him play in a back 4 under Frank Lampard.
But he can't do it no more, bro.
But hold on, bro. The reason why we didn't lose that game isn't because Silva was playing that game. It's got nothing to do with that. Silva needed a bit of protection. Silva needs a bit of protection. I get that point. But what I'm saying is West Ham are not in a position to be worrying about when it comes to playing 3 at the back, bro. You need to play 4 at the back and play attacking players rather than playing an extra defender, is the point that I'm making. I wasn't happy with the lineup Poch put out, and the shape wasn't right. He should not have gone to a back 3. Next game against Luton on Friday, I expect him to go back to playing the formation that we played throughout preseason. I did really well in. You know, I'm not feeling this back 3 stuff. I thought we're done with that, and it's taking me back to Tuchel days and that.
yeah, but I saw also Malagusto. You guys gave me all this talk. I haven't watched the guy before. You guys gave me all this talk about a brilliant player, a great player, and that's what we talk about. He's 20 years old. He looks good defensively, but does not contribute offensively. And as a fullback in a back 5, you need to do what Chilwell does and Reece James do. That's what I'm talking about. You cannot turn to 20 years old and ask him to play in the Premier League and get you top 4, top 5. It needs a lot of work. Malagusto, brilliant, looks brilliant on the eyes, but still unexperienced to start for Chelsea week in, week out now. That's what we thought. It's going to happen to Lavia, Jackson, Mudryk. There is no experience. Even Colwell, 2 games now. He looks like it's not the same as Brighton, or there's too much pressure here. There's more pressure playing for Chelsea Football Club than playing for Brighton, even with more experience. Remember, Colwell was playing between Chilwell and Thiago Silva. How more experience do you need? And he still looked a little bit shaky, a little bit not up to the pace. This is what
very nonchalant, isn't it? Very nonchalant.
It's only 2 games, but that's what I can judge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I think you're being a little bit too harsh on Gusto, in all honesty. I think he had a really good game. If I had to pick out a few players that had a good game, he was one of them. I get what you're saying in terms of if you're playing a back 3 and he's basically like our winger, pretty much. You expect him to be whipping in those balls. But one thing I said, if you remember, never a foul, if you were listening yesterday, Mo, I said it. I said, Gusto, you know, in terms of creating chances and whipping them in, I'm not too sure. I haven't seen much of that at Chelsea. But again, that goes back to Poch. You don't play a back three then, because clearly Gusto can't do that job. Gusto should have someone in front of him, like a right winger, doing that job, you know, or making those overlap runs in behind the winger and whipping it in from there. He can't do it by himself, in all honesty.
Sterling was doing it. Sterling was
doing it, yeah, but I'm looking more at the shape.
I get there's going to be criticism, but I think this goes back to what Patty said. It's going to take the manager time. He doesn't. Watching players in training is not the same as watching them in reality. And for someone who comes from a fighting background, there'd be guys in my gym who used to beat up the guys that were world champions, but they'd get on the mats in a real competition and freeze. They didn't have something about doing it in public when the pressure was on. It would be different. He has to try a little bit of trial and error in terms of that. And the one thing for Chelsea fans is you've got to stay patient, because you're going to have results like last night. You're gonna have a number of them. But as already mentioned, Caicedo had one of the worst debuts you can have as a football player. Like he gave the ball away loads, conceding that penalty as well, and everything else. Like NorthSIDE, from your point of view, a lot of people are saying that maybe he's going to have like a Basuma style first season at Chelsea, but with that £115 million pressure, do you feel like the whole world is going to be watching every time he touches a blade of grass?
Just give him time. He needs a bit of time. At the end of the day, it's not like he's coming into a stable club in terms of everyone knows their job role, everyone's playing well. And ultimately, not everything falls down to him. You know, when you look at defensively, you've got Thiago Silva. Where's the partnership? We've seen Ferdinand Vidic. We've seen Terry, Carvalho. We've seen all these partnerships. You know, defending is a team game. And when you're looking at it, Colwill, Diassi, they let Thiago Silva down. You know what I mean? And obviously, he's also part of that defensive unit. But when it's all falling apart, one man can't just defend by himself. It's a team game. And Chelsea need to work on a lot of the basics. I think they need to give him time. It's the same thing with Arsenal with Declan Rice. You need to give them time, a little bit of time. You know, a lot of times we bring in new players, regardless of the price tag. They don't dictate their price tag. We give them at least a year, you know, to be writing him off. I know his price tag is going to be used against him, but Chelsea fans just need to persist with him. He's coming to a Chelsea team, got new management now. You got Poch there. Everyone's trying to play his style of play. Yes, he had a howler, but at the end of the day, you know, if he gives you another howler, cool, put him on the bench. Maybe take him out the firing line. He doesn't need to be kept being pointed out if things aren't going right at Chelsea. But it's too overreactionary, in my opinion. I think Chelsea fans need to look more towards their defense and the fact that whether you're playing a back three or a back four, where's the partnership? Where's the defensive cohesion? You know, because it weren't looking good enough. Like Gusto as well, not looking good enough defensively. And I hear what Mo's saying about fullbacks these days need to go forward, but I have the same problem with Zinchenko. It's all good being great going forward in certain aspects in these fullbacks, but ultimately you are a defender. You know, you have to be good enough defensively. And I think that Gusto, for me, I wasn't, you know, he's still a young player. I'm not going to completely write him off, but ultimately for me, you have to do well your job title. And if your job title is a defender, whether you're fullback, centre back, whatever, your main job is to defend. Everything else is secondary.
Maybe I missed that. With Gusto yesterday. Yeah, but can you think of an example where he was done up, bro? Like, because I'm struggling to think of when defensively he was looking a bit shaky. Because I think he had a good game, to be honest. And I'm not just saying that because in his debut against Liverpool, I said he didn't look that good. In all honesty, he looked a bit shaky. He had a better preseason than Reece James. In all honesty, but yesterday I actually thought he was one of the better defenders. Can you think of an example of when he was looking a bit shaky or did he stay a bit mad?
I think Thiago Silva was your best defender. I actually thought he performed the best out of your defensive players. I didn't think Gusto played as bad as Diassi. Diassi was a complete calamity. But there was times where positionally I felt like he was a little bit, you know what I mean, a little bit rocky. I'm not saying he was the worst. I think Diassi was the worst. I think Kogo was even worse than him. But he was part of the problem.
Yeah, I had the guy was saying Desai yesterday. You're saying Diassi is Disassi.
I don't know him, bro.
He's my
cousin. I don't know him like that. I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you.
When he Desai made me die because like
he got cutie.
Yeah, he just started off and he realized he didn't know how to say his name and he just went Desai.
It's Axel Disassi.
But to be honest, Chelsea, you look good. Footprint is right there. The style of play is there. The problem with me is that he still plays 5 in the back, and we know that Pochettino is not going to play 5 in the back. But I see that Chelsea, at least you look like a team that knows what you want to do. Still don't have all the elements, all the tools to be used. But if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'll be looking forward to the future. I'll be looking forward with like a lot of a hope that this can be right. This can be done right. This is the reality then. 2 games, you look dominant. You look like you know what you want to do. You look like you have a plan. And just for Chelsea fans, the problem is with money comes pressure. And money comes pressure of the delivery has to be now. It cannot be within the next 3 years.
Did you tell Arsenal fans
Most spitting.
with money spent comes pressure, expectation.
Yes.
Listen,
But I want to say something about a point that NorthSIDE said about he does not dictate his price tag, and I'm not going to judge his price tag. The problem with price tags that much is that, and I think Terry yesterday alluded to something like this. When you spend that much money on a player, you need the product to be now, because because you spend 115, you could have gone another player and waited a year or 2 or some games for 50 million and spend the extra 65 million on a striker, for example. But they chose to spend 115 million on Caicedo, assuming that it's going to be now. So there's no wait, there's no patience, because that compensates for another player that could have been there if you don't spend 115.
And the world's changed. And listen, I've been in this social media game now for a long time. And this was the first year where I saw some players written off and heavily criticized for 20-minute appearances in pre-seasons. Never seen it. Yeah. I saw rival fans stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not talking rivals like Staffy who live in America, so it was daytime. I'm talking people that live in England. In fact, some people that live 2 or 3 hours even further behind the time, getting up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to watch a rival play football, subscribing to rivals' channels, as in like Arsenal's official TV program, Chelsea's official TV program, just to watch. And how I know this is because when they screenshot it, you could tell by the watermarks. So people are actively giving rival clubs money just to make compilations to banter people with. The problem Caicedo's got, and it doesn't matter what Chelsea fans say or do, rival fans are on him from the first second he kicks a ball. And the media has changed in the last 2 years. The media is the same as fan media now, but they have multiple £1 million budgets. The agendas people come with, they're all changed. No one got judged for whatever money you spent at 18, 19, 20, 21 years of age. Nobody was judged overly harshly straight away, ever in football. And it didn't matter. When we signed Wayne Rooney for 27 million, no one expected a hat-trick in his first game. No one expected him. The first few years, it was he's still learning and still developing. No one expected it. Now, if you're 18, you're sold for £50 million, you've got to be prime R9 or rivals are going to cook you. And then the mainstream media go, right, well, the narrative is this. And Caicedo's under pressure now after that first game. It's just the way it is. Yeah. If Jackson, I know he was cheap. If he doesn't score soon, the pressure is going to start to build up. There'll be compilations with clown music next to his name. You've got Arsenal tonight. If Havertz goes out there and doesn't deliver, rivals will be on him. Look what's happening to Mason Mount, who's been rubbish, by the way. It's the way football is now. You can't get away from it, whether it's right or wrong. The target's on him and Enzo. Him and Enzo collectively that's £220 million for 2 midfielders. Right. There's no rival in the world. That's why yesterday for our match reaction to Chelsea, it was the biggest live audience we've ever had for a match reaction in the history of the football terrace. Yes, the result helped, but everybody came to cook Caicedo. It was a Caicedo.
And just to add to Mo's point as well, I couldn't agree any more about the money. The money, with money comes pressure. And yesterday, I don't care, if we've brought all these new players, I don't care about any of that. We've got the manager now. We've got the players that have the quality. We should have beaten West Ham United. There's no excuses. Do you get it? What we've got to do now is bounce back and show that the other day was a blip. Yesterday was a blip. We've got Luton at home. Perfect game to get a few goals now because we're creating chances. And like Mo said, we're dominating games and we're looking like the future's looking bright. But now it's time for the players to actually have their shooting boots on because we can't be spending this much money and still be talking about the same problems we had last year. These lot need to step up now and actually start finishing chances.
Especially 9 points in the coming 3 games. You play Luton. You play Forest. I think Bournemouth after.
Bournemouth,
3 games, 9 points, nothing less. If you want to compete for top 5, because that's 5 games now. It's going to be 5 games. That's the percentage of the season. You need to have 9 points.
They need to pick up points now because I looked at their fixtures in October. It's not looking nice. They have a bunch of the
October,
big
November.
six. Yeah.
Yep, we've
Is
got,
it-
we've got Tottenham.
I think
we've got-
October into November, something like that.
Yeah,
That's when
yeah.
they
We've
play
got
all the
Tottenham,
big boys. Yeah.
Tottenham, Brighton. We have Man City. We've got Newcastle.
It's going to be interesting. I've got some super chats to do here. This first one is to Northside, and it says, use your logic regarding Caicedo for Kai Havertz.
Well, Caicedo, I've actually seen that he's a baller. Havertz, you're just going off of, but he wasn't unlocked at Chelsea. Chelsea played him at every position, and we haven't seen him produce. And ultimately, with Caicedo, he's young. He's produced at Brighton. He was one of their best players, and now he's come to Chelsea. So I've actually seen something in the player. Whereas Havertz, you're more wishing for him to fit in. And even then, we're squeezing him into the team because nobody knows what he's good at, what his best attributes are, or what his best position is.
Havertz was one of the best. Havertz was one of the best young talents in the world when he was at Bayer Leverkusen, and he wasn't unlocked at Chelsea for the exact same reasons that you just used as an excuse for Caicedo, saying, "Oh, he was thrown in and it was a mess and there was no one helping him out defensively." Havertz was thrown up top with no one supporting him offensively, no midfield building up behind him. But you don't want to give him the same lenience that you've given Caicedo, who cost nearly double the amount that Kai Havertz cost.
When the season ended and we can get world-class players, which one of you in the Arsenal fan base was saying, "Oh, you know the player that we need is Kai Havertz"? None of you. You were part of everybody else that was part of the rival fans that were clowning Kai Havertz. He ain't good enough. Nobody can explain to me what about him you rate. Some people said his height. In pre-season, I didn't see him score a header. Some people say, "Oh, he can play in the midfield." He was completely ghost and did nothing against Nottingham Forest. I'm not going to rate a player out of nothing just because he's at my club. Yeah, at the end of the day, if I don't rate a player and he hasn't produced in the Premier League, I don't care what he did in another league. Yeah, Werner looked great in the German league, came over here and he wasn't good enough. And it's been the same story with Kai Havertz. So why are we changing it now? Because Havertz come to Arsenal. You didn't rate the player before, so don't rate him now until he proves me wrong. Just like the Chelsea player, sorry, bro, I don't know your name. You said if you get Balogun, it's down to him to prove you wrong. It's not down to you to just, I'm just going to back him just because he's a player of my football club. That's nonsense. Because your real feeling when he was at Chelsea and you didn't rate him.
You're right, but I also didn't rate Jorginho in his final year at Chelsea, and I slandered that transfer, and I learnt from it because he's come in and done well. So I back Arteta to know what he's talking about, and clearly there's a reason that Arteta wants him. And I think for you to write him off after 2 games and then give rival players at rival clubs now and rival managers far more lenience than your own club, I just find it confusing. I don't know why.
Rory, would you say? Hold on, let me just say a point. Would you say that you've seen a lot more from Caicedo in the league though than you have with Havertz? Like in the whole 3 years he's been it. So when you see what people were saying about Caicedo yesterday, it doesn't really hold any weight because all the top clubs wanted Caicedo.
Exactly.
None of the top clubs wanted Havertz.
I mean, from what I've seen of Caicedo, I was looking at Caicedo much more because we were linked to him obviously in January, so I was more interested in watching him and seeing how he could play at Arsenal. If Arsenal had gone and spent 115 million on him, I'd have thought it was absolutely crazy. When we were bidding 70 million in January, I thought that was a lot for a player that had played at the time about 30 games in the Premier League, and now he's only played 40 or whatever. So, but equally, I'd have given him time and patience at the club. Because of, especially under Arteta, how few of our signings have worked out badly.
Well, there's a lot that's actually worked out badly, but we'll move on to the next one. I won't spend too much time.
It's interesting. Great super chat. Started a good debate here. Seeing this Chelsea mess, Eddie looks like a god. Don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Who's Eddie? What's this here?
I think he means basically that Nketiah as a goal scorer is looking better than what's going on at Chelsea.
As a Chelsea fan, I am practicing the theme songs of the Championship next season. You're not getting relegated. Like, Jesus, slow down. Gav here says... Caicedo joined up late with Brighton, hasn't really had a pre-season. He needs fitness, not worried about him. He'll come good in a few games. Yeah, I think most people agree with that. This is an interesting one. Mudryk doesn't score. Madueke, no goals. Jackson. Mykhailo Mudryk, I think he's only started 7 games, but again, it's just another match where he looks horrendous. And he's a player that I've backed to come good, but I'm regretting never saying that because he just looks like a fish out of water.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's such a weird one with Mudryk, man. Like yesterday when he came on, he came on in Carney's position. So he basically played as like a 10. And Mudryk, he's not a 10, he's a winger. This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm not even blaming him for his performance yesterday. I didn't expect him to do much in that position. We haven't seen him play much in that position. You know, he's not looking like the guy that we've seen in certain little spurts here and there. It wasn't the right decision to bring him on yesterday, in all honesty. I think Poch threw him in the deep end and it didn't work out. I would have gone for someone like a Matson in that role, in all honesty, or maybe push Gallagher a bit further up. But yeah, Mudryk, man, he didn't look good yesterday. He did not look good yesterday, but I'm not gonna go over the top on him. You know, I need to see him actually play as a winger, starting consistently in the back four, and then we'll go from there. But yesterday it was the wrong sub. Poch shouldn't have brought him on in that position.
I hear you. Mateus here says this Chelsea guy, that's you, Dom, has excuses loaded to go off for every incompetent decision his club does. Bra moving like a PR merchant for Todd and Co.
Thank you for the super chat, my bro.
Love you, Matt. Love you, Matt. Sammy, this is the NorthSIDE, I would assume. It says, welcome to the school of Lee Gunner. No logic, just word salad. When their points are actually challenged, they can't answer. I don't know how Arsenal fans deal with it.
Well, it's okay, isn't it? At the end of the season, when you lot are twerking, yeah, saying Havertz is the one that's going to lead us to win the Premier League, don't go anywhere. Because after we beat the MLS All-Stars, you man said that we bridged the gap against Man City. Don't change the narrative at the end of the season, yeah? No more Finn squad, Project Youth, none of that, yeah? Because every season I hear waffle and excuses. So cool, innit? End of the season, everyone's getting clipped up. It's cool, it's calm.
Balogun has a nice name, but Eddie is better right now. Lol. That's an interesting comment. Balogun's contract at Arsenal is until 2025. Start him is what Guna for Life says. This here says Balogun to Chelsea ends up like another Tammy Abraham. On that, by the way, Ben Jacobs has just put out information saying that Chelsea sources have indicated that they are not actively pursuing Vlahovic, but they have had discussions for Balogun. So that's another source saying that the conversations are currently going on. What does it say? Eric Ten Hag needs to stop this square pegged into round holes mentality, please. I think me and Staffy both agree with that. Definitely agree with that. Guna for Life also says, wouldn't have signed Caicedo for 160 million Jamaican dollars. I don't know what that equates. I don't know what that equates to in pounds sterling, but thank you very much. And there has been some breaking news since we've been live. KJ's put this up. Doku to Man City. Here we go. Verbal agreement in place. That is going to happen. I think we all knew that was going to happen. And Damasio has stated that Bayern Munich and Inter. As for you here, Mo, you've reached an agreement on Pavard. I've been told by French people it's Pavard, not Pavard. They don't pronounce the D. I don't know.
Pavard, whatever.
Congrats,
Benjamin.
There we go. Congrats, Mo. Well done.
You guys wanted Pavard, right?
It doesn't matter. You guys.
We did. You got. What's what saying? Congratulations. Well done. Well done, Mo.
You rejected us for you guys. There you go. That's the new narrative.
Jay here says, to be honest, the way
Mo doesn't look happy.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He still hasn't got over Onana leave, and he's still crying in his cornflakes over that one. To be honest, the way our club operates, Casemiro's replacement is McTominay, and the money goes to the Glazers' pocket, probably, and our fans will still buy shirts and go to games. Does the narrative money equals trophies end due to Chelsea? Depends what they win in the next 5 years. It does depend.
Well, they win the Champions League and then money's back. Everybody wants to spend money.
This here from Trini Guna. He says, you guys need to press the Arsenal fan in the middle about answering the questions. He waffles a lot. I'm going to be honest here. Trini Guna, you're a long-time viewer of the Terrace. I do think NorthSIDE answered the questions. I think he just gave an answer that you don't like.
I think it's because he didn't answer the Balogun section, because Mo did ask him a question. To be honest, I kind of get that one.
Okay, so what was the question? Maybe I missed it.
Because he wanted Balogun to stay, so Mo told him, well, he doesn't want to stay, so what do you do about that? And he said, I don't care. So I guess
then I went on to say,
it.
get top money for him and go get me a player like Ivan Toney. So I did answer the question. I'm just at the end of the day, for me, I don't really care about if Balogun stays or go. Let's get top money. It's better than what we've been recently doing and ripping up certain contracts or haggling over 5-10 million for players that are not good enough. The Arsenal fan beside me said that, a lot of the signings of Arteta it's been good. No, it hasn't. Yeah, Cedric has flopped. Tomiyasu's not been good enough. Yeah, Fabi Vieira ain't good enough. Lokonga ain't good enough. Eddie Nketiah's not been good enough. He's not getting the best out of Nicola Pepe. Yeah. And this is still the bench that we're going in next season that everyone said it was a light bench.
Right. So He didn't sign Pepe, who was a ridiculous signing that actually meant that when Arteta did come in, he had to do things like sign Cedric on a free. And since then, it's his signings that have taken us from 8th to a title race. So overall, on the balance, he's not spent £1 billion to do it, unlike other clubs. He's not even spent what Ten Hag spent in his first 3 windows. And he's got us to 2nd and expecting to be in a title challenge again this season. So
No, not being a title
I
challenge.
wouldn't say it's gone badly. I wouldn't, on the balance of
actually,
things.
when people try to overgas Havertz in, if there's a manager to get the best out of him is Arteta, why is he not getting the best out of Pepe? Why are we re-signing Reece Nelson? Reece Nelson's never done anything for this club. Why did he re-sign Nketiah to 100k a week and giving him the number 14 shirt, but he's never shown that he's good enough? Yeah. Why is he getting Lokonga and Fabio Vieira? These signings, you live and die on that sword. So at the end of the day, it's not good enough. Cedric and Tomiyasu, not good enough. Not the level needed. Rob Holding, why is he getting a new contract? What's he ever done? He's been part of this club, yeah, but he's part of the big majority of this club not doing anything. So yes, it is on the manager, because when you're re-signing bums that are not good enough, that ain't good enough. And when you're bringing in certain players that are our bench, yeah, and last season that were not performing against teams like Zurich that were 9th in the Swiss league, yeah, that's our bench. We're going into Champions League with a lot of that bench. So we'll see, innit? Let's see if he gets the best out of Havertz. We'll see, innit?
You're going to win the league and you're going to look silly, no side. You're going to win the league.
No, listen, Mo, he will live or die on his sword by that.
Silly, bro.
I don't live or die by that.
It's not.
You don't live and die by signings like Lokonga,
No.
who was experimental. He could have worked. There was a lot of hype about him. We didn't pay much money for him, and you're not going to lose much on him. You know, if you spend 115 million on someone like Lokonga and it doesn't work, then you live and die by that.
No, but I'm talking about Havertz and Mount. To me, these 2 signings this summer are the ones that got questioned the most. And both managers are either going to look silly or they're going to look like geniuses, because everyone doubted both signings. If Ten Hag, as an example, goes ahead and has a great season and we compete or something, everyone's going to forget about all we doubted Mount, including myself. Same for Havertz. If he goes on and wins the league, people are going to be like, see, he saw something that we didn't see. But then on the opposite side, if you don't, people are going to look at it and be like, what a waste of money, because you got something that you didn't need when you could have improved the striker, blah, 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 whatever it is.
I think you die on the decision if you don't act on the mistake quickly. So if Pep Guardiola was starting Phillips every game, even though he's playing badly, and City were losing games and going backwards, then you die on it. However, if your clubs allow you to replace them quickly, I think with Mason Mount and Kai Havertz, my issue with both of them at the minute is I don't think either have got the confidence to start games after the seasons they had. I think they should be on the bench and they should be slowly bled into these teams, because they just look like the players. They don't. Mount for a couple of years at Chelsea was doing some bits, and Chelsea fans will have to admit that he won your Player of the Year. He did well. He ain't that guy at the moment, and I think starting him is a problem. But I do hear you. This here says, what if Toney fouls at Arsenal? Then what? Stop moving the goalpost. Pepe doesn't defend well, hence he is left out, is what Brian says.
I saw a few rumors on Twitter that there's conversations with Mikel about bringing him back or something like that. Is that true?
Well, we just can't get rid of him, so we can either terminate his contract, or which has got a year left and is going to cost us another £7 million, or try and bring him back as potential depth. But he's never going to significantly play for us again. I think the thing with Havertz, just going back to it, is that I think NorthSIDE's like misinterpreting someone like me saying I'm going to back Havertz and support him and hope he does well and give him a season at least before I judge the signing, and saying that I'm twerking for him and the Arsenal fans that back him are, think he's an amazing signing and is going to win us the league. Like, there's a big difference between wanting him out of the club after 2 games and saying I'll give him a chance because I back the manager and I back him. And I think as a versatile signing that's coming, he's probably not going to massively raise the level in one specific position, but he gives you a lot of versatility across multiple positions, so that we don't end up in similar positions previously where we've run out of depth.
There's some more comments here. This one here says, Patrick, have you cooked Staffy yet? He's so traumatized. He's wearing your colours.
You know what? Staffy's been humble today, so I don't need to cook him. He knows the result.
He knows the result. Like,
he knows what happened.
Patrick,
the better team won. Like, no one can disagree with that. I know there was a few decisions they say didn't go their way, but Tottenham were the better team. Tottenham got the result. Our midfield, boss your midfield. Sarr was excellent. Basuma was excellent. We had good players that stepped up to the occasion. You guys didn't really bring it. There's nothing to cook. The results there, isn't it?
Yeah.
How did you see Madison, Patrick? How did you see Madison? in the
He
Oh,
was fantastic. Yeah, again, brilliant, man, brilliant. Like the thing is, the misconception with Maddison is that he wasn't a hard worker, and he's shown in the 2 games he's played for us that he does work hard on and off the ball. He was progressing the ball well. Passes were fantastic. He looked good, man.
He should be your captain, man. He should be your captain. I predicted 2-1 Spurs. I predicted 2-1 Spurs.
You did. Me and you predicted Spurs to win, Don. You remember in the last top?
Yeah. I just want to say one thing about that super chat. Listen, they're saying Cook Staffy. These are the same people that say Staffy doesn't back his team, but now they're clowning me for backing my team to get a result. So you can take that information and make what you want.
Your prediction's so wild, though. You make me. I love you, Staffy. Like you just. Do you know what it is? It's your football knowledge versus like your want to big.
I love my team so much, bro. People just don't understand. I actually love this team so much.
We've got a terrible midfield that's not working, and we're going to get battered by everybody. What's your score prediction for the Spurs game? We'll win 3-0 easy.
There was more than just that. Listen. There was more than just that.
Me and Staffy spoke at length, and every time we spoke, Staffy kept saying high line. I said, okay, what?
It was exposed in the first half. People want to mention that, but listen, man, we're not going to dwell too much over it. I just want to let you guys know.
You're like one of them people. You're like an anti-capitalist who works for a bank. That's the way you make me laugh. That's how you make me die, bro.
Listen, man, it was the hookah pipe. I'm filing a complaint against the hookah company that I bought the stuff from because that prediction was based on that. I wasn't feeling right.
Okay, I hear you on that. We're going to come back to the super chats later. We haven't forgotten about them, people. But there's a rumor going around today, and I wanted to get Arsenal fans' opinions if they would want this to happen. There's a few reports in Spain that Arsenal have started talks with Ansu Fati's representatives about potentially bringing the 20-year-old to North London. Rory, if that rumor was true, is that a transfer that you would back? Do you think that's the right kind of additional attacker that Arsenal need at this point?
Not if we, like, the belief at the moment, right, is that we haven't got much money and we need sales before we can buy anyone. And if we make those sales so that we can free up, I don't know what he'd go for. I mean, I don't know what he'd go for, but if it's kind of 30, 40 million, something around that, then I just think I'm not sure it's the exact position right now that we need players. I think when you've got Trossard on the bench, who's easily or should easily be good enough to start. You've got Martinelli, you've got Reece Nelson. I think like defensive midfield options I'd probably be looking at. Again, replacing, at least short-term replacing Timber would probably be preferable. So I don't know. He's not a bad player, and I certainly wouldn't complain if he was at the club. I just don't know if it's the first place that I'd spend money.
How about yourself, Northside? Excited about the prospect of Fati, or is that just one of those weird, would that just be a weird left field signing for you?
For me, I mean, he can play left, he can play right. I definitely do think that we need another player that's going to rotate with Saka. Obviously, Pepe looks like he may be coming back into the fold. Not for me, end of the season, the majority of the fan base said that we can attract world-class players. I don't think he's world-class yet. I think he has world-class potential. But for me, I want world-class players now because I think this is the season to deliver. And I don't see him improving us to the point where I say, okay, we're even more title contenders than we already are. So for me, it's not a signing I want to see, if I'll be completely honest. His
injury history is for a 20-year-old as well. He's missed like a lot of time with the same hamstring injury, and he's done his meniscus. So
that's exactly what I flagged before. Rory, if you remember, I was on the top 6 before. I spoke about his injury record. I said at 20 years old to have an injury record like that, with how you guys play, the intensity of the league as well. That's just signing up for problems,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't understand why Arsenal are not going in for Kudus. I've said Man United, Chelsea, all of us. I think this kid's so talented. Brighton and West Ham are struggling to get the deal done, and all I see honestly happening, if he goes to Brighton or West Ham, one of our clubs is going to buy him in 18 months, 2 years for 120 fucking million pounds. I just think I actually want Man United to stop buying who our club wants, and just whoever Brighton are after, just go and buy him. It just makes, honestly, it's crazy. Like everyone's trying to drop 115 million on Caicedo. You could have saved yourself a lot of money and gone for the guy that's replacing him, because they just bring off this conveyor belt of players. Maybe it's the pressure of going there different, but so I'm being a little flippant. I just don't understand why people are not going for Kudus. I think he fits in pretty much all of our clubs could do with him. Even Spurs, really. All of our clubs.
Fabrizio said yesterday on YouTube that we're moving away from looking at Kudus, but we're looking at a creative attacker who can actually play on the wing as well. So I've got a feeling something's telling me we might be looking at Cherky. But yeah, you're right, man. I want us to look at Kudus.
With the way we have Anthony playing, we should be in for him because Anthony's doing nothing on that right-hand side. And so far, we don't have any competition there because Diallo's out injured. Palacio is not really it. So we should be 100% in for that because we don't have a left-footed winger to come in and challenge Anthony right now. This is why he's stinking out the gap and he's playing every game. You know, so I would 100% be in for him. Yeah, see, even Terry smelled that. So
no, he does. Listen, I call out players when they're bad. Kudus has similar injury record to Fati. Does he?
No, not even close.
So. It's literally not as bad. It's not. I've checked it before. It's definitely not as bad.
He's had a few things here and there, but it's nowhere near as well. So
I'm just looking at it now. Someone who else I saw the other day, Man United were linked to bloody Verratti. I read out his injury list. My Jesus Christ, it's horrendous. I mean, he's had a few injuries. He's had a few injuries, to be fair. He's had over the last 2 seasons, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's had 8, including one this year where he missed about 12 days. So he has had a number, hamstring injuries, some fractured ribs. One just says ill. I don't know what that means. A bit of fitness, meniscus injury. That was a little bit, but yeah, nothing like Fati. But I hear you on that one. In terms of Arsenal tonight, feeling confident NorthSIDE going into this game away at Palace? You know, there was a lot of talk after your game against Forest that it wasn't a great performance. There were some Arsenal fans that seemed a little underwhelmed. Remember listening to Guna Saracen. By the way, I'm trying to find this guy on socials and can't find where he is. I won't send him a message. But he was saying he thinks you've gone backwards this year. Do you think there'll be a response to that performance tonight? Do you think you'll beat Palace, or are you a little bit concerned about it?
We should beat Palace, but there are things that are concerning that are still ongoing, even from certain things I didn't like towards the end of last season. You know, going out in the second half and putting in that kind of performance where job is done, acabó, it's done, you know, we're winning right now. We don't need to put a performance for 45 minutes. I thought we were past that. You know, I thought we was past that stage where we only come out and only one half we actually perform. Also, one thing I don't like about this manager is he always sets the team up to be susceptible to get cut through against counterattacks. We saw it last season, first game against Man United last season. You guys were having a lot of joy, you know, in the counterattacks and ripping us open. And it was way too nervy at the end against Nottingham Forest. That for me is a big, big concern. Playing Partey as a right back, for me, long term, that's a bit of a concern for me. The fact that Havertz was able to be on the pitch doing absolutely nothing. That Filudapota did absolutely nothing, to the point where I saw certain fans talking about, oh, but look at his stats to do with defensive output. I don't care. He's been brought in to be an attacker. Yeah, I don't care about your defensive work. I care mainly about your attacking work, and it wasn't good enough. We saw that game also. Once Martinelli and Saka weren't creating for the team in the first half, second half, we had no creativity from neither Havertz nor Odegaard. Not good enough, not creating enough. And ultimately, also, you know, I just think that there's things where the manager can improve on. Timing of certain substitutions, the way he sets his team up, being versatile in formation, and not allowing this team to have phases in the game where they switch off or they're kind of coasting. Because that game against Nottingham Forest, we could have either drew or lost. And I'm sorry, we were second last season. The only improvement for that is first. So the expectation should be, and when we beat MLS All-Stars, when we beat Barcelona in the preseason, the majority of this fan base was saying that we should be winning the league this season. You cannot be switching off like that at halftime. I know it's the first game of the season, but I don't care. The standards are up there because we're chasing Man City for this league, and we can't afford to be switching off at halftime in the second half. It's just not good enough, in my opinion.
How about yourself, Rory?
I feel like I'm probably feeling slightly more positive about things generally. No, I think Selhurst Park, going away to Selhurst Park, so good. It was our first game of the season last season. I think it really set up what happened for the rest of the season. I think it's a litmus test. It's a team that you should beat, but it can be very difficult to go there and beat them. Our away record was very good last season. In terms of a couple of things that NorthSIDE just mentioned, in terms of switching off and stuff like that, I feel like away from home last season, we didn't really do that too much. I think tonight, hopefully, obviously, I think against Forest last week, we tried something a bit new, something that we'd tried a bit in pre-season. I don't think we'll do that tonight. I have a feeling that we'll go back to more of what we saw last season, because I don't think it's worth... I think home against Forest, you can take that risk and start trying new things for later in the season. Away at Palace in a game like today, I just think back to kind of basics of what we did last season. And look, if we don't win, it'll be quite a big blow at the start of the season. But I think we will win. So, yeah.
If he forces Havertz to the starting lineup and he tries to play him as striker, I don't think you win the game. I think you lose the game.
But why? We believe in him. Project Youth. Just give him a chance. Don't write him off.
I'm serious. The problem with that is that if you play Declan Rice, Odegaard, and Partey in the middle, it's too defensive in my opinion. Granit Xhaka I was a big fan of Granit Xhaka last season. I was very vocal about it. Like the way he used to play, the way he used to crash the 18 and being in like the highest man forward, and also the first one to tackle and do last-ditch tackles. I don't think Declan Rice is ready to do that. As brilliant as he was for West Ham, he's not that guy. And if you try to shoehorn Havertz into the starting lineup and try to play him as a striker, because now you don't have Timber to play 3 in the back, unless he plays 3 in the back and puts Partey in the right back, I think if he tries to do something strange, I think Roy Hodgson might get a result out of Arsenal today. And I think it will be, for me, you need to win all these games. Like, this is what you did last season in the beginning. 50 points, 19 games. Before Saliba got injured, this is how you were going to win the league. And if you're going to win the league this year, it might need to be not exactly the same, but these Palaces and all these games, everybody below 10, you should be winning. You should be having 20 games, 60 points. This is what I believe. And then you deal with the rest, the top of the table, where everybody beats everybody. This is what I believe that should happen with Arsenal. But
no, I agree.
We'll see how stubborn he is. We'll see how stubborn he is.
I think hopefully Zinchenko should be back tonight. And I think when Zinchenko's back in, that frees up Declan Rice, who I think he's going to have to learn to do that Granit Xhaka job more. But I think I definitely think it's what he's been brought in for. Definitely think he's got the attributes to do it. And we saw it last season. Whenever Zinchenko didn't play, Xhaka's output massively dropped off. So hopefully we see him back tonight, and hopefully he can stay fit for a bit, because without Timber, we need it.
I'm just looking at Palace's lineup in their first game when they played Sheffield United, because obviously they haven't got what's his name, Zaha anymore.
No Olise, by the way. No Olise.
And no Olise as well. So they actually went with Ayew on the right and Jeffrey Schlupp on the left. And then they packed out the midfield. So they played a 4-5-1. Eze, Lerma, Doucouré. That's looking kind of solid, I can't lie.
Yeah.
That is looking kind of solid.
Well, Liverpool want him, didn't they? He's Liverpool's #1 target for some reason. They weren't after him all summer, Liverpool. I don't know what happened, but yeah, they want him now, didn't they? I've actually had maybe the funniest super chat that I've seen in a long time from Trim come through. And he's talking about NorthSIDE and Rory. And it says these two are Ty and Claude regen, aren't they? Not to the extreme. Obviously, big up Claude. Rest in peace, brother. A little bit. It made me laugh, actually. Sorry, and that's a great super chat. I've always had a centre forward Pepe fantasy if he has the build. Maybe fantasy, but a lot of our fantasy, they always say that the reality of a fantasy is never as good as a fantasy itself. Remember that, kids, when you're watching things. Wow, congratulations, Terry, you've found another league gunner, is what Daniel says here.
I lost the league gunner title in 1 week. I was the league gunner last week, and now you took it from me.
He's Arsenal. I mean, this one here, this is interesting. It says, I want to ask this league gunner junior, are you okay? Why are you shouting? I'm even seeing Patrick and Staffy embarrassed for you.
Don't put words in my mouth. I'm not embarrassed for him.
I
didn't say anything.
Listen, in Portugal, that's how we are. We're passionate, innit? We don't be twerking for 20 years for doing nothing, winning nothing in Europe, and doing nothing, yeah? My advice to you, don't go to a Portuguese cafe, because first of all, they're going to call you filho da puta, and then they're going to be telling you, yeah, what you support Arsenal, the team that don't win nothing. Yeah, getting the dog win out. Maybe we can get win out. If Nketiah doesn't do it, get win out in the pitch. Maybe you can give us a good 20 minutes and get us a
win the dog.
The dog. I'm not gonna let that dog so cringe.
I tried to bring up the Labrador, you know. That's funny.
I just find that dog so cringe on social media. Every time that I see a post about him, it makes me hate the dog, even though the dog's so adorable. I just look at the dog and I get so pissed. They put the dog. I forgot who it was. They just signed someone, and they're like, "Oh, he's playing."
It was Rayo.
Bro, Ray, I'm like, bro, go win on the pitch. Why are you bringing the dog into this? It pissed me off so much looking at that. I was waiting for Igal to post something about
Rory,
it.
you love it, don't you? You love it all, Rory, didn't you?
Yeah, I love the dog. Well,
He's getting the chocolate Labrador himself. Watch, he's gonna get one in a couple weeks.
I would if I could, yeah. If it has puppies, I'm in there.
You're gonna see Rory one time streaming, and on that bed behind him is gonna be a chocolate Labrador right behind him.
Pac-Man here, they're loving you two today. It says one in a fake press conference, the other is sat at the end of his head. These Arsenal fans are a rare breed. Oh, Jesus, Pac-Man is going in today. League Gunner wannabe waffling is what Jay Mills has got to say here. This is interesting. Apparently, Gabriel is benched again. Wonder why.
Yeah, I saw a couple of rumors from those like FPL leakers, but I don't know if it's someone just trying to get clout. So we'll see. If he is benched, it's a problem because last week there was like rumors that it could have been a knock and stuff. But if he's benched again, it would be tactical, and it's not a decision I'd make. Maybe he's trying to push for a move, but I don't know.
I mean, maybe those Saudi links weren't fake after all.
Maybe.
Can't afford to lose him.
Yeah,
we called him Lee, and he proved us right immediately. Is what Daniel says here. This is there you are, Staffy. Gotta love these easy games. Staffy getting a bit of cooking as well today.
You know, we buried those chances. It was an easy game, but it is what it is.
D33 says, sorry, mate. Patty, it says, Pat, thank you for being humble with that win. Respect is what V33 says.
it looks like Patrick's coping with no life after Kane. Patrick, I'm proud of you, bro.
Patrick is scared, bro. Like last season, they gassed themselves. Like we said, the top 4 was going for the league. I remember in the beginning of the season, I was one of them. I'm like, Conte, you guys going to challenge for the league.
What Patrick did is, like he broke, his girlfriend left him and he was feeling sad and down and worried about the future. But the win against Man United was that first night out when you get a new girl's number. And he's like, yes.
That's literally what it is.
100%. It is.
Yeah, this season, no expectations, just vibes. Like I said, better brand of football. I want to see the youngsters be pushed through, which is what's happening. And we just see what happens, man. After last year, I got traumatized. I was like, yeah, we're definitely finishing the top 4 with dark horses, and you saw what happened under Conte. So this year, I'm just taking it easy.
But Patrick, though, this is what I was saying. Though I was backing Ange. When I done my research on them people that I spoke to that watch Celtic, they said he's a good manager, and I said like this guy doesn't seem like someone that's incompetent. Even though I didn't watch any of your preseason games because that was during the season, I said he looks like a good manager. Do you know what I'm saying? And me and Mo spoke about it as well. So listen, credit to him, man. He's come in and he's doing bits.
100%.
Yeah, he won against Man United with 10 men. He literally won against Man United with 10 men.
Oh, who's what you said? Richarlison wasn't? Is that who you're going?
He wasn't on the pitch.
Richarlison had a decent game. No, I'm not buying this. A lot of Spurs fans again. Every year we have someone who's a scapegoat. It was Vicario the first game. Richarlison did his job. He held the ball up. He brought people into play. There was a few times he made runs. People didn't find him. Maybe they're working out. His new team, they're not used to the runs he makes off the ball, which Kane doesn't do. But I don't think Richarlison had a bad game. He was actually decent.
Championship level at best.
Nah. He's if you're
championship level at best.
Mo hates him.
Yeah. That's
I do.
Might not be good enough for
I don't like strikers like this. I do. I don't rate him at all. I think Spurs should sell him for 10 million. Find any striker, anyone under the bridge. Just go find someone from these guys. Play 5-a-side. He'll be better. The guy should not be playing in the Premier League.
No,
he was terrible at Everton as well. And he's terrible at Spurs. And if Ange gets something out of him, he will be a genius.
His best time was at Watford, man. Let's be real. His best time was at Watford. That's when he had his best time in the Prem.
We still need another striker. Don't get me wrong. I want us to go out and get a good striker. But to say that he's championship level when you've seen half of the Premier League strikers, they're nowhere near as good as him. But is he good enough to lead the line for the whole season?
Can you tell me who's worse than him in the Premier League, Patrick? Name me some.
The Nottingham Forest striker, for one.
Hold on.
No.
The Nigerian guy. No. Are you serious?
Let me finish.
Okay.
Whoever's playing at top for Crystal Palace, I don't know who's there. Obviously, he's playing at Luton. Who else? Fucking hell. There's so many players.
Struggling there.
I'm not struggling. I'm just actually trying to think of the names. Richarlison is
Let me ask you a question. Is Richarlison better than Mikel Antonio?
Yes. comfortably. Yeah, but I know Mikel Antonio scored yesterday, good goal, but definitely if I'm having to pick Richarlison or Antonio, I'll take Richarlison all day long.
Are you saying that because of Antonio's age?
Richarlison's not even better than Calvert-Lewin, bro.
He is. Again, that's another one. There you go. You've given me an answer, Mark.
I'm telling you, he's not even better. They're both similar, but at least Calvert-Lewin score goals.
But you see how all the names.
Patrick, let me ask you a question. Are you only saying Richarlison over Antonio because of the age difference?
No. I'm just talking about ability. Forget the age. Ability-wise, Richarlison definitely.
Just back to your first name was Awoniyi from Forest, right?
Yeah.
He's got more goals this season than Richarlison has at Spurs in his career.
Yeah, I know, but Richarlison had a bad season last year. Let's put that and put into context. He's playing behind Harry Kane, who's probably one of the best strikers of all time in the Premier League, and playing out of position. So, yeah, we can do all the stuff that laugh and clicks, but if you actually put into context, how often did Richarlison start last year? I think 7 times. How often did he start in his actual position? Probably once or twice. So context is very key. You lot always love to use it when you're talking about your teams.
I swear I'm not bantering.
No, but you see how all the names that you
I am not bantering. I'm just telling you, I want Spurs. I want to see Ange with a striker that can play football on the ground, even the likes of Jackson. You know what I mean? Someone can put the ball down on the good touch, dribble. My guy tried to dribble, I think against Man United 3 times, and he just took 2 steps, and the ball just went like 5 yards, and they just took it from him.
Listen,
he cannot play football, Patrick. He's a fake Brazilian.
He can't trap the ball. He struggles to trap the ball.
Yes.
Fan, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm all the way there for Richarlison, but I'm just saying, given the same grace you give everyone else. This is his first season playing through the 9, through the middle, in his proper position. Let's see what happens, innit? We're only 2 games in. And like I said, on Saturday, he didn't have a bad game. Like, you lot can do all of this, but if you actually watch the game, he was quite good.
We all did, Patrick. We all did.
What, he wasn't good? Richarlison wasn't good? He wasn't bringing people into play, holding the ball. The ball was sticking.
He doesn't do any of the things that...
No, he didn't do any of that.
Yeah, yes, he did. Come on. Yes, he did. He was
Patrick,
doing all
he didn't.
But
anyway, in your opinion, he did. I see that.
Not in my opinion. I was watching.
I'm seeing Spurs having a golden opportunity with this manager now. Golden opportunity, because I was someone who said this guy's an unknown. Spurs, if they're a big club, they shouldn't hire a manager like this. I was wrong. Brand of football is right there. He has a brand of football. Yes, you're wide open in the back, but if you have a decent striker, Patrick, you have a golden opportunity to make top 5. I'm seeing the signs. It's right there.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. It says Mo, he's R9. Come on, and Martial is the worst. Yeah, Martial is one of the worst now. He's fallen off massively. Richarlison could play as a number 9 for the Pigeons. Let's see once Højlund has his debut very soon. Yeah, look, we don't know how good or bad he's going to be. We'll see.
You just put Højlund in the converson with Richarlison.
It'll be all right.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Staffy. Wait until he plays.
Gods, leave it. Karma. Trust me. Listen to your dad. Listen, trust me. Like, karma.
That was just a mental super chat. It was so bad.
It is. And what you do is you say, super chat, bro. Don't put yourself out there. Big up NorthSIDE, one of the few realistic Arsenal fans who wants to win trophies and isn't just about the good vibes. Is what Steve Runs has got to say here. Babukar here, thank you for the big super chat. He says that Arsenal fan right here is a type of football fan who wants his club signings to foul so he can come on and say, I told you so, I was right. To him, being right is more important than his club succeeding.
Absolute 100%. Crap. Absolute crap. Absolute crap. When we got it right with Ramsdale, did I not say we got it right? Maybe you did. Maybe you're not logged into my channel, NorthSIDE LDN. Yeah, all the receipts are there. So you're talking absolute nonsense. Last season, when everyone said, "Oh, just be happy, 10 out of 10 January transfer window," when I could still see the bench weren't good enough, I didn't need to wait to the end of the season. I wanted him to win. Yeah, to prove me. I want him to prove me wrong. But at the end of the day, I'm not wrong when I say this club ain't won nothing, no major honours in 20 years. I ain't wrong that we are in our 3rd youth project and I'm still yet to see major honours. I'm not wrong when I've seen Rob Holding, other players like that not be good enough year after year, and this fan base still want them here, and we win nothing. Yeah, so ultimately it is what it is. Arsenal fans love Mikel Arteta. Well, do you rate Poch? Because he was a nearly man. You man don't rate him. Do you rate Brendan Rodgers? No, you don't. You only rate Arteta because you like him. But based on football, what has he actually done or achieved? This season, better produce now. Otherwise, it's Ole 2.0, Lampard 2.0. I ain't hearing none of it. Yeah, you man love to move the goalpost here when it's Arteta, but when it's other clubs, oh Poch, what did he do? Oh, Tottenham, we don't like Tottenham. What did they ever win? Filhos da puta. But you're happy for your club not to win nothing. Viados da merda. What are you talking about? Use the same logic with your club. It's always the same crap. What's man talking about? It's about my bucaria. I've had enough, bruv. You know what I mean? It's starting to get hot up here. Yeah? You man keep the same energy. Because last season I said we weren't going to win the league. I'll just be happy top of the league. I told you that bench is light. Yeah? And we're going into this game today, the same bench that ain't good enough. Man talking about Jorginho, who's a good signing. Are you mad? What did we achieve last season? Second, yeah? So you man should have... Did you guys big up Ole when he comes second? Did you guys big them up? No, you didn't. Yeah? When Lampard had money, there had to be, results and trophies. He got sacked. Same with Ole. No different for Arteta because you see him in the GQ magazine stretching out like this. The feel that puta. Go out there and actually win me a major honor. I don't care about posting for GQ. Yeah, and if it hurts your feelings, nothing I said is wrong. We ain't big when nobody's in Europe and we haven't won the league for 20 years. So why should I be happy? You man are happy, yeah? You man suit Spurs more than me.
Alright, chill with the Spurs. I was with you till then.
That was amazing.
I'm gonna go through some more of these super chats here. This one says, "I will take Fati because he is a better goal scorer than Saka and Martinelli."
No, he's not.
Oh my God! People,
come on now.
What?
The Havertz obsession needs an intervention, is what Anthony says here. This here says a middle guy is about to do what? Something preseason interview?
Arteta.
Oh, right. It's about NorthSIDE background. Right. Okay. I hear you there, Gunnar Dan. Thank you. Chris here. This is an interesting one. Says Odegaard, I think he means goes missing in big games. Maddison will have a better season playing in a worse team. And I'm a gooner, is what Chris Clark has got to say here. Damn.
I didn't say anything.
Just from Jabby says your recruitment for your panels is as good as Brighton's. I know. I've got an eye for talent.
That's a great super chat.
That's a good super chat, though.
Round of applause for the super
I'll
chat.
let you know.
Well done, Joey, man.
I'll let you know how good my eye for talent is. Mark Goldbridge's first YouTube videos were on my channel. He used to send me his videos in when he was called Soccerbox TV, and we used to upload them onto our channel. Like, I knew he was good. I knew I can see these things.
I'd like to give KJ credit for recruiting me. It wasn't.
Yeah, but who taught KJ? Like
that is a joke.
He is my Padawan. Do you know what I'm saying? It's no, I'm only messing. If Chelsea don't get the Champions League, they're in trouble for FFP 100%. Not just yet. They're not, bruv. Trust. We need a striker. Nketiah isn't good enough for the title, is what SG tells us here. I think he ain't. Yeah.
Can I ask SG a question?
Go on.
Do you think Jesus is good to win in the Champions League or win the Premier League? It's a genuine question because it's Jesus, and then after that is Eddie Nketiah. So the people that say Eddie Nketiah is not good enough, do you think Gabriel Jesus is good enough to win the Premier League title and the Champions League? Genuine question for the people that want to answer.
They'll tell you they scored enough goals all round last season, so it doesn't matter.
So
that's how they deflect.
I'm just using the logic. So why not Nketiah then? It's the same logic. It's the same logic.
Oh, days. You got laugh.
This year says that the Kane situation reminds me of when Ballack and Raul were out of their international teams and they improved. So there is hope, Patrick.
You know what? There's a thing called the Ewing theory. Go check it out. It's basically when Patrick Ewing got injured for New York Knicks in the playoffs and everyone stepped up and had better games. And essentially, when your star player either gets injured or gets traded, the players that were below him that are considered not good enough, or they usually step up. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
It could definitely happen. Abu here says, listen, this Arsenal fan needs to chill. I understand the passion, but calm down. It's not that serious. We all love our clubs, but you are talking way too much crap.
Trigger him again. He's going to go again.
He's going to go again.
Don't set him off.
New Lee, I would like to hear your opinions on other clubs. I've heard your agenda against Arteta. Now talk football, or wait, you don't have anything else to say. You spoke about Chelsea.
Thank you for the super chat, man. Thank you for the super chat. Don't bite.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat.
He did do that. Thank you.
In all fairness, he did talk about Chelsea, Man United, and Spurs. He did.
Yeah, well, I think he only got a 5:30, so I wasn't here for the Man United bit. But this is an interesting one. Tony says that Gabriel is heavily linked with Real Madrid. Ooh. I haven't seen those links, but
I don't think that I've seen links, especially since Militao got injured for the season. But I'm not sure that they're heavy links.
Oh, okay. Viewers, make sure you're smashing like buttons, by the way. Over 1,000 likes, but let's get this to 1,500, please. Benjamin here says, I've got no idea what your man's saying in Portuguese. Well, puta means like cat. I mean, it's a nice way to say it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's saying in Portuguese, but I am going to do his nod my head and say, yep, I agree. A lot of people agree, a lot of people disagree, and I like that. Mo's right. Spurs' back line is so wide open. It can be likened to Khalifa and the love of back shots. Wow. Big up her. And I read somewhere she's the third highest earning OnlyFans person in the world, at like £750,000 a month. It's crazy the money they earn. Already done that one here. Arsenal for life, Terry the GOAT. Thanks. Appreciate that. I'm just hearing, what is this? I'm just here waiting to hear the knock. Oh, no, knock the stadium down for us. So I see a League Gunner quote. Press conference is 100% emotional, 0% knowledge.
Cool.
No Gabriel Jesus isn't good enough either, is what SG says here. Where is Northside predicting Arsenal to finish?
First.
Third, and then he should be sacked. This is the season to win. No more excuses anymore. No phase 4, no youth project. No, we can't compete with Man City. We can't spend the money that Man City spend when we broke our transfer record for Rice. It's time to deliver now. So it is what it is, isn't it? Win the league.
You think that there are 2 teams better than you in the league this year?
I think we're going to get sussed out. Did you not see, bro? Listen, everyone that
I did see the games, and I did see the games.
Everything I've been saying, yeah, after the Nottingham Forest game, yeah, on AFTV, did you see the biggest cheerleaders for this manager? Did you see them? They're all concerned.
I'm not
yeah,
talk about
winter is coming, bro. Game of Thrones, winter is coming. Yeah, I'm telling you, because this manager is not versatile. Yeah, and there's a lot of things that we used to cuss Wenger for this manager is doing. With big money comes big responsibility. Winter's coming.
So you say we're going to get sussed out because he's not versatile and doesn't change things, and then when he changes things against Forest at home, because it's Forest at home and you can get away with it, you also complain that we're not dominant because we're trying something new.
Changing things doesn't mean that you made the right decision. Last season we got second, yeah. We got second last season, playing our strongest team, going out of all the cups, yeah, and we got second. This season you can't throw away the Champions League, and when you're looking at that bench, yeah, the majority, unless you got Trossard in there, the majority is roughly about the same bench we had last season that was deemed the light squad. Yeah, but everybody that was so positive about this squad and said that's why we bottled the league. I'm not seeing the improvements. Yeah, and we still don't have a striker that can score us 20 to 25 goals. And we're going up against a Man City that just won the treble. Just look at who we're up against, and that is why. And at the end of the day, I'm not hearing it because I saw Arsene Wenger going up against Fergie. Fergie was the better manager, but back then, the fans, there was no excuse about, we can't compete and we can't spend this and we can't do that. And it's roughly the same difference. If not, Wenger was a better manager than Mikel Arteta. Yeah, it is what it is. He has to deliver now. There's no more excuses now. He's spent, he's got like 22 players. He's re-signed the players that he wants to work with. Now it's time to deliver. At the end of the day, we didn't have this, trust the process, when we're looking at other rivals and when their managers spend money and they don't deliver. So why is it different when it's Arsenal Football Club?
I think you're expecting. Okay, I think the signs are there for him to succeed. You're not going against the same Man City that won the treble. I'm sorry, they are a weakened Man City team, and I think your expectations is failure. And instead of waiting for him to fail to say, have your say. I feel this is the notion now that is going. It's like you are expecting him to fail instead of waiting for him to fail, which is, for me, is unfair because last season you played sensational football until Saliba got injured, and then we complained, right? We complained about it. We said, oh, listen, he's not versatile. He played Rob Holding. He couldn't change the system to accommodate Saliba. Now he has Kivior playing football, good football. Now he added Timber, unlucky, got injured. I'm sorry, right? And then he had a party now, Declan Rice. He added Havertz. He sees something. I disagree with it, right? He has Trossard for season now. He kept Jorginho. So wait until he fails before you judge him.
I'd say but your only logic for saying that Arsenal are actually going to go backwards is that you just don't believe in Arteta. You think Arteta's going to get sacked, but you haven't actually got any. You can't give a team or a reason that a team is going to overtake Arsenal and we're going to finish worse than last season.
First of all, yeah, You're telling me that he's not being sussed against Nottingham Forest. 2 wingers come on, 2 attackers come on, and we get opened up and we almost lose that game. Yeah,
and we won the game.
Talking about progress, that ain't good enough. Yeah, he's not versatile in his tactics, which means you will get sussed out. Even Klopp had to change his system. We've even seen Pep change his system. Yeah, we have not seen that from this manager at all. And they
literally played a different system against Forest.
That's in your opinion.
That is my opinion.
Your opinion. But
what am I here to give? Everybody else.
But hold on. In your opinion, he did change the system to the wrong system. When he played Timber, okay, he played Timber, Ben White, Saliba in the back, and he played Partey on the right side to compensate for having Havertz and Odegaard behind the striker, which is what Pep Guardiola did last season. He got praised for being the greatest team. Oh my God, look at the run, because he did play the same way. And now you're blaming him. That was very good from Arteta. Worked, didn't work. At the end, he won the game. I thought that he gave Nottingham Forest a lot of respect in the second half. But the system he played is the right system to accommodate a player like Havertz, Odegaard, and Eddie Nketiah. Otherwise, it won't work. In your opinion, is wrong. But at the end, he won the game.
Okay, let's see if we can sustain that, because it was squeaky bum time against Nottingham Forest, a team that some people are putting down to get relegated.
You know, I put you to
play. If we can sustain that. I already said with the Zinchenko thing, I said we couldn't sustain that he's leaving a hole. For everything he's good at going forward and being introverted, ultimately he's going to cost us points defensively. So if you think that what we did against Nottingham Forest, we can do that, well, we're coming up against a better attack.
Imagine
with that naivety and playing that high line and playing Partey at right back, we're going to be exposed. And the chances that Nottingham Forest didn't put to bed against better opposition, they will be put to bed. Okay. And this is why I don't say it's sustainable.
Just think about instead of Havertz, he gets not stubborn and he plays Trossard next to Odegaard behind Eddie Nketiah or Jesus when he comes back. I actually predicted you to go second this year because I thought City, before Kevin De Bruyne's injury, right? Before I know that Bernardo's not fit, before I know that Stones is not fit yet, right? But as of now, even though you cannot compensate for Xhaka, right, with Rice, but I still think that this Man City is weaker than the Man City you played last year. You haven't improved massively, right? But having Trossard there, I think it will help you a lot. And having Declan Rice as a DM when Partey inverts next to him, that protects the defense. Unlucky that Timber got injured because I thought he would have a great season. But that's not his fault, though. That's not Arteta's fault that Timber got injured.
We're going to be? You're saying that City
second. I predict you second. I predicted you second, right? But hold on. But I predicted you second. I predicted you second for many reasons. But now, at the moment, I'm predicting Arsenal to win the league until Man City fill the holes that are in the squad. This is what I'm saying. They started it yet, right? They started it by signing Duku. If they get 2 more, I will put them first. But as of now, I think Arsenal should win the league. This will be my prediction.
Guys, listen, really good debate. Viewers, they've let us know their thoughts. There's a lot of super chats in here that I need to go to. We had 1 left and now there's 15. So I really appreciate that. The terrace community is the best on the internet. It really is. Abu here says, God damn me, this North guy doesn't know football. Are you saying our team is worse now? And looking at the league, tell me which team have a better team on paper than us. Please explain. What I say, Abs, is that I think NorthSIDE explained that in what he's already said whilst your super chat came in. I really appreciate the super chat, though, brother. If you follow the Muppeteers Patreon series, please listen to their latest video on Greenwood. If what they say is true, this club is fully rotten. Yeah, look, I don't have their Patreon, but I'll take a little listen and have a look. But we know Man United is rotten to the core. And I keep telling Man United fans, every time you give money to this football club, you're supporting it. So if you bought a shirt this year, you are a Glazer. Manager isn't versatile yet, complained when he completely adjusted the system to accommodate a new, against Nottingham Forest. Low block, and I can't stand the hypocrisy. Crazy is what TBG has got to say here. This here says, where are we at with this one? It says, why are people getting on NorthSIDE? He is speaking facts. We are in this sport to win trophies, is what LJ Brown has got to say. Babukar comes back and says, NorthSIDE, what do you mean by you can't wait? Can't wait until your manager fouls. Wow, that's wild. But by the way, I'm a Chelsea fan.
I can't wait till I'm proven right. End of the season, don't go anywhere because Arsenal fans talk the most during the season, and when it all starts crumbling.
Why do you say I can't wait to be?
I was right, and then I was deemed negative, and then everything that I called out, like last season when I was calling out that we did not do enough, that we needed more, that I did not rate the January transfer window as a 10-10 window. We still needed more. Ultimately, when everyone said that we had a thin squad, well, that's basically what I was saying the whole season. But it was only fashionable to say it at the end of the season. And that's how it is with Arsenal. It's reactionary instead of proactive. We are more reactive than proactive. Instead of calling out what we really need and what we really don't like about the squad and what needs to be addressed, it's always about different buzzwords. Phase 4, we're doing this, we're doing that, Project Youth. So I'll wait to the end of the season.
It sounds like Partey is starting at right back again. Terry, I'm not sure if you've seen the
no White
Nick's just put in there.
No,
he's starting at right back. White.
No,
White's starting at right back.
White is starting, but Mo, what you said earlier, Havertz is the striker today.
No,
Havertz is the striker.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of about Arteta. He's stubborn.
Gabriel's been
Gabriel's benched. It'll be Partey at right back, Saliba and Ben White at centre back, and Tomiyasu's at left back.
Wait, who's left back? I'm sorry, who's left back again?
Tomiyasu.
Okay, so he plays 3. So basically, he plays 3 in the back.
Timber will play. Tomiyasu came on when Timber got injured, so it'll be the same.
It's not.
Yeah. There's another super chat here from D who says, "Bro, keep your hate in check. Make sure hate for Arteta doesn't make you wish the club fails." George also says something similar where he says, "This guy would rather see us foul than actually win. You are so negative, pal. You'll find a problem for every solution. Get a grip," is what George says. Cullen, one of our members, says Arteta, whilst experimenting against a weaker team, has been sussed out, but still won the game. Well, if winning games is failing, let's let the failing continue, is what Cullen says here. Mo is defending Arsenal better than us fans are, is what Guna Dan says. And he says Mo is undoubtedly the most mature.
Guna. I don't get that.
I'm probably the oldest.
Get that with Chelsea.
I am the oldest.
Richarlison to Inter. Who says no? Big up my guy Don.
Mo says no. Mo says no.
You know, I killed myself, bro.
Let's go. I hope the football gods are listening. I hope that comes true, man. I hope
Garen Bent here says, I bet Liverpool fans were crying for Firmino over Firmino not scoring enough goals when they won the Champions League and Premier League. I don't care who scores as long as the goals are coming. This here says, Northside, has Arteta improved Arsenal?
He's improved, and now it's time to get to the next level, win the league.
There we go. Liverpool finished 5th, so somehow they have become considerably worse than Arsenal. If they get a good DM, they can finish above Arsenal. Big up Football Terrace. Thank you, Zane, for that super chat. Abu here says, proven right. You are a negative supporter. I can relate about what you said with winning trophies, but you seem to want the club to fail.
I want to be proven wrong. Up until then, I'm right in it. So we move.
Why do you watch football? You seem in pain. From a Newcastle.
I'm actually all right. I'm all right. I'm chilling in my house. I'm all right.
You're all right. Northside did nothing after the goal, save 2 shots from distance.
Said Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest did nothing after the goal. They shaved, 2 shots from distance. Yeah, sorry. Not Northside. There we go. Listen, I appreciate all of our viewers. Great show tonight, people. Great energy as well. Very much appreciate all the opinions. We are live after Arsenal take on Crystal Palace tonight. The link's already up, so go to the channel now. Make sure you bookmark it. Go and hit the like button and get ready for that. Northside, great debut on the Football Terrace. Great having you on. Rory, brilliant as ever. Don is just a Don. Staffy, a.k.a. Lee Gunner, was here. Chatty Patty, humble in his victory today. And, of course, Mo, always in a good mood until we mention...
You just got a super chat, by the way.
Oh, until we mention Inter buying players he hates. Let's just say I'm already skipped the terrace to...
He skips the terrace on Tuesdays. He doesn't
want to Tuesdays, please, I can't miss Mo. Yes, me and Lee Gunner. So, by the way, do you want to tune in tomorrow? It's me, Lee Gunner, and Hussam on the same show. So make sure you're all tuning in at 3:30 tomorrow. Boys, I appreciate it. Viewers, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. Smash the like button.